What is up, fellow nerds? I'm Josiah.
I'm Nick.
We're friends.
We're playing Marvel Rivals.
We are friends and rivals. Alrighty, everybody. It's episode 30 of Friends and Rivals, a Marvel Rivals podcast. This podcast is almost numerically the same age as us, dude.
In a manner of speaking, yes.
From a certain point of view, we got an episode for you today, as we do every week, full of Marvel Rivals content. We got a bunch of news, patch, Art Vision Volume 4, matchmaking update. We've got, I think, a very special main topic for you today, getting a little more close to home, some personal game life balance stuff from yours truly, Nick and I. Of course, we're going to play Armed and Dangerous. We got a great hero spotlight from everyone's favorite rock man, The Thing, and Reddit takes of the week. Nick, what's up, man? Where are you at right now? That doesn't look like your normal background.
No, well, first off, we successfully fulfilled the prophecy high five.
Yes, we did.
That was like the first thing we did when we saw each other. We finished it.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
Then we played Armed and Dangerous at your house in a special weekend edition of it, which was fun.
That was super fun.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, though. But yeah, and then I hopped on another plane, and now I'm in New York for a work conference, which has been pretty good. New York's interesting, I gotta say. I haven't been here in a long time. I was here when I was like 12 or 13, but I have these kind of things amuse me for some reason, but I feel like you would do this too. Do you ever try to blend in wherever you travel? You're like, I'm gonna not look like a tourist. So I'm just gonna try to blend in.
All right, I have to tell a really funny / cool story about this once you tell you whatever you're about to say, because yes, I do that.
Yeah, I told you I was going to take shots at New York, and I mean this lovingly, but basically my attempt to blend in this week has been to walk fast and look pissed off, like just everywhere I'm going.
Yeah.
And then the other one is you have to start crossing the street when the other direction gets a yellow light, not when you actually get the walk sign.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was in Manhattan for 2 weeks back in high school for senior year. We were performing in Carnegie Hall and all that good stuff. And I remember that we were all going to get breakfast, like my group of friends. And we were going to get breakfast from one of the street vendors outside who was doing like breakfast sandwiches and stuff. Well, they were all wearing their high school like Lettermans and like shirts and stuff. And I like kind of distanced myself, and I just wore my black pea coat, and like I'm a tall guy, so like I was tall in high school too. So like I had my black pea coat and my scarf kind of like wrapped around my face because it was winter and it was really cold.
Yeah.
The guy charged all of them like, I want to say like $8 for their sandwiches, and he charged me $4. So like it was literally half the value, and everyone was like, no freaking way, just because I looked like I blended in there. And they looked like sucker high school students, which we all were. But I actually really granted I've only been there once, but from that memory, like I really enjoyed my time in New York, which is surprising because I'm not generally like a huge city guy.
Yeah, but prices definitely are high and variable for sure.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was walking in the the like giant Macy's on 7th. That's like it's like the one that they do the Thanksgiving Day parade in front of and everything.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so this thing is literally like a city block. Like they've taken over the entire block inside, and it's 9 stories, but it's just a Macy's. It's just huge though. And literally no joke, every single item in that store that I saw anywhere had a tag on it, like on the table next to it saying 20% off, clearance,
Yeah.
15% off. There was not a single price
Yeah.
in the entire store though. So it
Nice.
was like this is so much better relatively than whatever it is that you don't know we're charging you,
That's
right?
that's
Get the sale.
that's wild, dude. That's wild. Yeah,
But people
it's
fall for it, man. Like, and people want to fall for it too. There was a story I remember hearing about. J.C. Penney got a new CEO at one point who decided like we're done with all these fake sales and everything. I just want to give
mm,
people like a price that is the price and it's always the price and we don't do sales. It's just this is what the price is. And
yeah.
people hated it. Like
Mm,
it was the same. They were paying the same thing they were before, but
yeah.
people liked having the feeling that they were getting a good deal, even if
Yep.
they paid more
Yeah.
rather than less. And he got kicked out because the
Sure.
stock price for J.C. Penney went super low.
Psychology with that stuff is so weird. I feel like we're just playing ping pong with these weird stories now, but I have to say this one. There's this famous experiment that hopefully is true. Someone can fact check me. I've never actually looked it up myself, but um, of an office building that the coworkers were complaining it was too hot, but management didn't want to spend more money on air conditioning, so they like consulted with some like business psychologist, and they're like, I've seen this work before, just do this. They put up little plastic streamers on all the air vents so that you could like visually see the air coming out of the vents, but they didn't actually increase their like output at all, and like morale went up even though
Yeah.
nothing changed, just because we are gullible and prone to being duped by by propaganda and manipulation.
Yeah, there's a
So,
lot of that.
oh
Yep.
man. Well, there's not going to be a lot of that in today's episode because we bring you nothing but hard facts and good vibes. One of which is another 5-star review, baby. And there's still more. We got more
Yeah,
this
we're
week. We're
we're
lining
still a
them
couple
up.
behind.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And I love even more just the theme and the name and everything. This is a great one. Do you want to read this?
Sure. This is from Deaf Not Night Gobbler. Uh,
Nice touch.
and they say so wholesome. Uh, I listen to too many podcasts because of my incessant ADHD, and if I
Nice.
want a quick way to cheer up, I listen to this podcast.
Oh.
Nick and Josiah come off as really good people, and I feel like they've even have improved my gameplay. Anyways, thanks, Night Gobbler. And so yes, thank you, Night
Thank you,
Gobbler.
Night Gobbler.
Yeah, I love all the every week that we get a review, we always pick out the thing that could be taken really passive aggressively and read it that way.
Yeah, yeah,
I love
yeah.
the like. I feel like they've even improved my gameplay. Like even these
Right.
idiots.
Right. Yep, definitely. No, I well, Def Not Night Gobbler. I don't know who you are. I know who you're not, but I don't know who you are. But I feel connected to you through this review. So thank you so much for leaving it. I'm glad that we get to cheer you up and even improve your gameplay. So
And
yeah.
come off as really good people.
We try. I think we try. I think both Nick and I are uh, constantly trying to better ourselves and all that good stuff. So sure. I'm glad we come off that way.
Yeah,
Oh man,
I love English. There's just so many funny ways to say things.
that is true. But there's only one way to talk about the news.
Okay, so the big news this week is going to be the dev update video telling us how the matchmaking system works, which I
Yeah.
am halfway through uh, because I've been traveling a whole
Yeah.
bunch. But even more so because we didn't
Right.
get to see it until quite a while because it was hard to find because for some reason they only put it on Instagram and not on YouTube and not on anywhere else. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it, that's why it's hidden on Instagram. But what I've watched of it so far has been amazing, and we're gonna dedicate an entire episode to it next week
Yep.
to talk through it and kind of explain it and then also just talk through our opinions on what's going on with that.
Yeah.
But full disclosure for this entire episode, I am in a tiny hotel room in New York, and there's an AC unit next to me that I can't control that turns on really loud every once in a while. I don't know if you've heard it in the episode. You might hear it later. We're not sure if the internet's going to hold up with the audio.
Right.
And I've played about 3 hours of Rivals this week in front of Josiah.
Right. So actually behind my back technically, but
that's true. But all caveats aside, who knows if my neighbor from the room next door is gonna come cease and desist me in the middle of this because we share a thin wall. But
yeah, right. Yeah, good point. There's that too. I'll try not to make you yell about anything, I guess.
Yeah. We're just gotta be calm. Keep calm. So Josiah, there was an Art Vision video that I have not watched for all of the aforementioned reasons. How was that?
Yeah, well, I will tell you now, when you have a free 28 minutes, you definitely should. I think this is their longest Art Vision yet. It's a deep one, and man, really good. So this one is all about like character, like animations and abilities and like VFX, like MVP screens, emotes, all that kind of stuff. And man, just every single time I'm constantly flabbergasted by the amount of effort that goes into every single step of all of these decisions that they make. Like from the they posted a bunch of concept art for all the abilities, that's like showing them all together and like penning them out to see how they're going to look and like what the width and depth and everything is going to be, all the way to the final animation. I just love it. Something clicked for me this time that like I think a lot of multiplayer games, specifically multiplayer, miss this. There's a lot of skill in the multiplayer game industry. There's a lot of like head ability, and there's a lot of passion in the multiplayer industry. There's a lot of like heart ability. But those two things, you don't always get soul from the multiplayer industry. Like skill and passion are often apparent, but there's that X factor, that secret sauce that is transcendent and intangible, and Marvel Rivals is one of the few multiplayer games that really freaking has it. Like everything that they do, I love learning these things because then I start looking for them more and more in game and appreciating them more and more in game. Like that's something really cool that I have like actually like I've in the moment noticed as I've been playing that because I've seen the explanation for some of the things that I'm looking at on the screen in the Art Vision, I like notice it more, and I'm like, oh, holy crap! Like that looks amazing. And one of the things that I liked that they talked about that I'm going to be looking out a lot more for is how they're trying to connect as many hero animations and things with their personas through connect them with the expectations that people have through the cinematic universe and the comics, etc. And they use Doctor Strange as one of the examples where like the soul, the astral projection, like soul knockout thing was first seen in that way in the MCU. And they're like, this is a very central idea that people associate with Doctor Strange. Like of all the visuals from that movie, like that's probably the most iconic one. So like that's going to be the most iconic part of his ultimate, which is the most significant part of a hero's kit. And I'm like, that's super cool. I love seeing stuff like that. So now I'm going to be looking out for like how other characters, animations, and things like that go. I also just loved, again, the effort that they put into giving you a certain vibe based off of an animation. So they used Jeff the Landshark's ultimate as another one where like when he uses his ult and he doesn't grab anybody, he like looks kind of down and like frustrated with himself and mad. And when he does get people, he's like all happy and bouncy and he licks his lips because he ate them. And it's like that's just that sort of visual feedback telling you that you have either successfully or you've either successfully executed your ultimate or you weren't successful. Like, you don't even need to see anything else on the screen. Like, the character tells the story of what just took place in game, and then pushing that to other characters beyond Jeff too. Like, that stuff is so cool. They also confirmed for sure that their inspiration for Jeff was indeed a puppy dog. So all of his, all of his shark, the sharkiness is juxtaposed against the little puppy dogness of his personality. And the two other things I have about this. One, I thought for sure. I actually did think about this when Emma came out and her Carbon Crush introduced like displacement of a hero physically in a way that was like very unique, from like lifting them up and flipping them over and slamming them on the ground. And in my head, I'm like, it's probably so fast, and they probably use like post-processing effects like blur and whatnot to like fudge it, and so that they don't have to like actually touch each hero model. Freaking no, dude. They change every single hero model in the game, and she's not the only one they do that for. They do it for Spider-Man and Penny, for when people get wrapped up in webs. And there's others too, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, you're locking yourself in. Whenever you make a hero that has an ability like that, you're locking yourself into having to adjust it for every single hero you ever release. Like, that's just so much work. And they're like, the fact that they're willing to do that is insane to me.
Yeah, that's a big scaling problem with a lot of things like that, where if you make a piece of armor that has to have flipping issues on whatever, you have to be careful with flipping on whatever. Now every piece of armor you have in the game has got that issue.
Yeah.
That you have to manage. That's pretty crazy when you do see that committed to, of like, no, we're gonna do the extra work on this one. It makes you wonder how many abilities we can make like that.
I know that. That was one of my first thoughts, and the other one was just like, it just shows you how much they really do. Like, it's not just it's not subjective anymore. Like, these video docs like put evidence to how much they actually care about getting a hero's vibe right. Like, even if you might disagree, like, there is no questioning that they care and the effort that goes into it. And they were even saying in that segment that like, we're committed to continuing this too, like for every hero that comes out.
Yeah, I was going to say the other thing that does is it gives me a good feeling that the creative team is the one driving the show.
Yes.
On decisions like that, because that's a very practical like work hours kind of decision of like how much work you're going to put into something that is not making them money. Like Emma having that grab, not fudging it somehow with like a mannequin going really fast, it's not really the hero, is not something that's making or losing the money. And so it would be very easy to have management, like, and pretty standard to have management shoot something like that down and go, no, come up with a way to do this, it's easier.
Right.
And so the fact that the creative team has that much power to say, like, no, this is what we want this character to be, and also we're going to do this for other characters pretty regularly, that's a pretty good sign on like who's running the show in that in that respect, which is pretty rare. I gotta say.
Yeah, super rare. I read I read an article this week. I can't remember. I think it was PC Gamer, talking about like calling out big game corpos' fascination and obsession with indie companies, and the talking about some of the recent trends we've seen of like massive corporations buying out indie companies, releasing a super successful game, and then basically liquidating them for like no apparent reason. And they're talking about how like they know that they don't have the creativity to do it, so they have this like disgusting predatory relationship with studios, because they know that like they're creative, like they're driven by creativity and passion, and so like they can produce something interesting. So great article, but like Marvel Rivals being a huge, I mean, owned by NetEase, a massive I think $1 billion company, like and having that sort of creative freedom is and like having that creativity at the helm, like you're saying, is super cool.
Yeah,
Closing. Oh,
that's
go
probably
ahead.
a good way to put it. Is they make their dev decisions in a way that really feels like an
Yeah,
indie team in
yeah.
a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's, I would love give us a management structure volume one. I want to see that video to see like how they run internally, because at least on the from what we see, it looks really good and healthy. Like I hope we don't get a Blizzard bombshell in 10 years from
Yeah.
freaking what's his name, Jason Schreier at Kotaku, talking about how actually all the devs lived in boxes in the
Right.
basement.
They were on constant crunch, pumping
Yeah.
out skins every week. Yeah.
Yeah. Closing thought that's just fun. They as they do when in all of these vision videos, they talk about how important the emotes the emotes are to a hero's identity too. I'm referencing like, yeah, like all the costumes are all very importantly tied into the hero and stuff, and they're cycling through, and whether it was intentional or not, I like to believe it was kind of tongue in cheek, as they're talking about the importance of the hero's identity being tied to the emotes and how it's expressing their persona and stuff. It shows Venom twerking, and it just started laughing, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Venom's intrinsic heroic identity as having a full-on bakery strapped to his lower back. That's why he got the twerk emote for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man. So yeah, that was really good. You should
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. I want to. Um, we also got a patch that came out the day after our last episode came out.
Yep.
Um, which we don't. Yeah, there's not much to talk about. It's all been out for a week, but we do have another one
Yeah.
that's set for this week, and this is going to start with something that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I kind of we'll read it and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking about it in a second. But they're doing an event called Chrono Storm, where the weekly challenge and season missions for the next couple weeks are going to rack up double Chrono Token rewards. They say you can earn up to 2,000 bonus Chrono Tokens before the storm subsides. I don't know if this is just literally all the challenges that they're going to give you will have double and that adds up to 2,000, or if it's like a cap of like you can get up to 2,000 extra.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Great way to finish up your battle pass as the season gets in, which makes me wonder if they did the shortened season and did the math on Chrono Token stuff and then found that people weren't quite catching up to where they were hoping they were, and they were like, shoot, we're gonna have a lot of people who don't finish the battle pass if we don't Chrono Token. That's completely just because it's coming at the end. It could also just be a way to get people playing for the last couple weeks of the season before the next one. But whatever it is, I'll take them.
Me too. Yeah, and I would be surprised because I actually, despite the loss of dailies, I think everything else in this season is better progression wise. And so that would surprise me because I had a way easier time finishing this battle pass than the last one, mainly because the weeklies rolling over was huge.
I don't think there's a Chrono Token problem. It's just funny when you release something that's like extra stuff right at the end. But what this does mean is if you have any unfinished battle passes that you're going back to, this would be your chance to get some extra Chrono Tokens to throw at the old one. Or if you finished yours, then this is just 200 units.
Yeah, right? I know. That was my thought I still have, I'm not done, but I would be even without this. I still have to get the Adam Warlock skin. I have 1,000. I need to get the 400 point Adam Warlock skin, and I need to get the 600 point comic page at the end.
I still got a few extra things because I didn't play really at all this week for my first time ever.
Right.
And then we also have the Scarlet Witch Phoenix Chaos skin coming out, which is the counterpart to the Phoenix one that they did at the beginning of the season.
The better half, for sure.
I was going to say, every time we've mentioned the skin, we've both agreed that this one is way better. I actually think this is the coolest Scarlet Witch skin,
Yeah,
probably.
agreed.
Looks awesome. And then it's also coming with an emoji bundle coming out the same day. So
Yeah,
you're doing a little bit more of that one skin with an emoji bundle that matches it, which is probably less work than two skins. So maybe that's one of the ways that they're going to keep things moving so quick.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
bet that's true. And they also did a part of the patch that came out last week, right after we recorded, was their first emote bundle that incorporates another hero.
Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah. The
Emma,
Jeff Emma one.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Jeff Emma bundle, and I bought it immediately. Like I used I had 300 units and 300 lattice, and I'm like, you know what, I'm doing it, and I got the bundle because so cool. So I bet that we will see some of that happen, where it's like it's a skin and an emote, or a skin and the like emojis or something like that.
Yeah. Have you actually been able to use that yet with
No, I
anyone?
haven't. I
I was gonna
haven't.
say that's the one thing that keeps me away from it is like how likely are you, unless you have a friend who plays the other one, like how likely are
Yeah.
you to be able to do that very often? But
But just because I love Emma Jeff so much that
yeah,
like I would, if I see a Jeff, I'm probably just gonna, even if I'm not gonna play Emma, I'm probably gonna bring Emma in just to emote with them and then swap.
that's like I'll start games and I'll be the Spidey costume, like the
Yeah, yeah.
symbiote Spider-Man, do the dance right in the front of the spawn, make people think I'm gonna throw a Spider-Man, and then I switch.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone breathes a sigh of relief.
Yeah, it's part of my fitting into New York strategy. Um, Uh, we also have just some fixes in this patch. Apparently, the hold to skip button sometimes wouldn't respond after a battle that happened during an update, which is such a specific,
Yeah.
such a specific bug. But hey, it's fixed.
Thanks for fixing it.
You couldn't change costumes during Doom match if it was the practice one for warming up. Um, Now you can. Okay. And
Yeah.
then this one is a mystery to me. I don't know what this even means, but it says resolved an issue where the presidential attire Loki costume could not be shared due to blocked words. I don't know if what they mean by shared.
Huh.
Like,
Yeah.
is there a way to like ping a name of a costume in chat?
Weird. Yeah,
Like
I
World
don't
of
know.
Warcraft style?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
But then on top of that, like what was blocked in the actual skin, like the word
Right.
president? Like
President.
I don't know. I don't
Is
know what's
there
going on
some,
here.
yeah, yeah, is it like another language, like something in there that's
Maybe, yeah,
like
it could even be in another language.
assassination gets blocked because
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But if anyone knows what this is, please let us know because I'd be really curious to find out and we can patch note that.
Right.
Um,
I like this last fix.
fixed an issue where surrendering during the preparation phase could cause the match to not end properly.
I like getting the entire team to agree to surrender, and then the game just being like, "Psych, suffer." And you all just have to get beaten down for another
You just
10
get lost
minutes.
in limbo somewhere. I'm not
Yeah,
sure what it
yeah,
means by not end correctly, but yeah.
yeah,
And then there's also a fix to the Throne of Null map where some of the symbiote changes, like around the map, like when the map changes
yeah. When
around
they
a little
pop
bit, can
out.
trap heroes. So I actually in our Armed and Dangerous game, I think that happened to our
Oh,
Luna
really?
because our
Oh,
Luna
dang.
was saying like I'm stuck in this thing, like what the heck, and it
Oh,
was probably
yeah.
from that, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Dang.
And then they fixed a couple hero bugs. I don't think we really need to walk through them. They're like really
Yeah.
specific random things, but
Right. On Adam's res, it was just like if he died, people would lose their overhealth, and Blade like couldn't be healed by certain healing over time things.
okay, that's
Was
actually a little
basically
more
it.
significant then.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Especially Adam dying and then your entire team loses their bonus health because that was like 70% of your health. That's
Right, right, right.
yeah.
But yeah, the also, I mean, honestly, both were kind of like shocking. Like Blade not being able to get the healing over time from Rocket's only healing ability.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. So he like got the impact, and it's it just says after activating Bloodline Awakening. So I don't know, but I'm
This is
assuming it's
instead of reduced healing. So yeah.
yeah. So interesting. But the last piece of news that we have for you is a little scandalous leak. We have some voice line interactions for two heroes, and it's Deadpool and Daredevil. Very interesting. And people, there are a lot of comments about saying, if you give us another season with two duelists, like I'm uninstalling. And I mean, I wouldn't uninstall, but I agree with the level of frustration that
Yeah.
that I would share there. There's absolutely no way they do that, but super cool. I mean, that tells me that these are pretty well underway. Whenever we get voice lines, I mean, it it's a good indicator. I think when we were getting all the Ultron voice lines and stuff, like yeah, he
Yeah.
was the next hero. We do have voice lines for heroes that we haven't seen that we've had for a while. We've had ones for Captain Marvel and stuff, but I think those are just text
Those
lines
are just
rather than
text. Yeah.
actual voiced things. There isn't any voice for Daredevil yet, but there's voices of other heroes interacting with him. There is actually the first voice line that's on this clip for Deadpool is voiced by somebody.
That wasn't
It
Banner?
it's someone talking. Oh, is it? Oh
Because it
shoot.
has him standing next to the Hulk, but there was no conversation, so I would assume that it would be.
You know what? You're right. I'm
I think
dumb.
that's Banner.
It's
Yeah.
just because I'm so not used to hearing Bruce Banner's voice.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I didn't catch that immediately. But
But yeah,
yeah, there's a that
the voiced like interactions are a good indicator of how close heroes are because that means that next time, they're gonna batch whenever they get the voice actors for all the other heroes to come
right.
back to do new lines for new heroes. And I would imagine they batch a season or two. And so that's a lot better than, hey, we have a piece of text that references Pacepot Pete somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do appreciate how in the Deadpool voice lines, many of the heroes are like, bro, shut up. It's just
Spider-Man in particular just doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
I have you heard the theory about Deadpool being a Vanguard?
Whoa, no, I haven't.
Okay, so this isn't like
It
based
could
on
make
anything,
sense.
but this is just based on people going, you know what? If they're gonna try to fix, like, they need to start making people creatively into vanguards and strategists.
Yeah.
And they're talking how Deadpool could actually be a really good one if
Yeah.
you focused on him
Thematically.
not being able to die, rather
Right.
than you focused on like swords and guns. They were talking about like either doing. There's some hero in. I think it's Paladins. There's some hero who doesn't actually ever really die. They kind of go Adam Warlock like dormant for a little bit,
Trying to
but they
think if it's
don't.
Paladin.
They don't walk back to spawn. Like
Yeah.
they.
Yeah.
And that might be Heroes of the Storm too, where there's someone who doesn't really die. They go dormant for a little bit and then they come back.
Yeah, gosh.
There's definitely. Not the Lich King.
Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. The Diablo 3, the first boss. I can't remember his name. King something. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He doesn't
Yeah.
actually die.
Right.
When he dies, he just turns into a ghost and wanders around a little bit
Right.
and then
And he
respawns.
actually has a couple abilities that he can use in his ghost form too.
You could
Yeah.
totally do that with Deadpool, where he like takes too much damage and like doesn't have any arms or something, but still runs around.
Just like his stump kind of rolls around and like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, give him the like Black Knight treatment where I'll bite your legs off. He jumps and he has a very like low damage ankle biter attack. That'd be freaking amazing.
That would fit him pretty well.
The main problem with the Vanguard dilemma is just like the hero silhouette. Like, because you have to make someone big be a Vanguard, and I know that's tough, but that'd be freaking amazing. I'm all for it.
Yeah, he would have to be kind of like a Vanguard duelist hybrid, where like he's just more of a gnat that won't go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, shall we do some podcast patch notes?
Let's do it. All right, Josiah. 2 minutes on the clock. Go.
All right. So last week's hero spotlight was well, we had two. We had Mantis and Luna, and my goodness, Mantis is now my second most played hero this season. I have had such a good time. I like something from just like hearing it all together as we were discussing it and like talking about it myself made just her kit click in a way that it hadn't yet. I'm still very bad with landing shots, and I'm absolutely never landing headshots on her right now, other than on accident. But like that now, that's the only barrier. That her kit is no longer a barrier. I feel really good with using it, and I've been doing like really well with it too. I got MVP a couple games and was doing a ton of damage. I really liked specifically. You were pointing out that like Mantis, if paired with an anchor, like or with a lifeline, like probably shouldn't really be focusing too much on the vanguards. Dude, I was just buddying with a magic for one of the games that I had.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah.
And we just absolutely abused the crap out of the enemy team. Like they barely ever left spawn because I was just constantly keeping a heal on her and keeping the damage buff on myself and her, sleeping targets for me to just delete. I also learned something about the sleep that I wanted to mention, that every time you sleep someone, their head drops in the sleep animation. So that like I kept like missing my headshot after sleeping them, and it took me like a couple times to be cognizant of the fact like, oh, like their silhouette is altering. So
yeah, but it also makes their head a bigger target.
Yeah, it does. It does. And last thing I have is the her buffs do not stack. That's a specific patch note that we said we're going to mention. Neither her self-healing buff nor her self-damage buff stacks on herself. And yeah, we still need to test if they do stack with Storm and Loki together. That'll be fun.
Yeah, well, I didn't really have a podcast patch note for this week because my homework was to figure out the Mantis stacking thing, and then I never had a chance. But I'll put 2 minutes on the clock for Resource Rumble. We forgot to talk about
it. Oops.
I did play a couple games more of it today. But our Armed and Dangerous, I think, was my first experience with it. And then,
mine too.
and then I played a few after, and I'm really liking that mode. It's really fun. It is weirdly like a streamlined domination in some ways. Like it has that same feel of like the last one, going back and forth, and like it feels like an extended overtime of a domination map. That's always the third point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're already 1-1. But you're like coming in at an advantage or a disadvantage based on how well you did in the first two. But I think it's really fun. I think it's a faster paced like Rivals game, which I kind of like.
For sure. Yeah, I really do like it as well, and I like the push and pull. It feels really good. Like there are games where you can just outright, roll people and you never even get to the rumble phase because you just take both points and it's over. But I had one game. I actually played a decent bit of it this week. I had one game where we were like 99-1, like the equivalent of like domination, where we would rumble the other team, get wiped. They would rumble us like almost all the way to full. And we went back and forth like 3 times. Now, I wonder if there is at some point in overtime, because you could technically just do that for eternity. It does speed it up. But like, if you were to like create a situation in which you kept going back and forth, like the game has no timer, I don't believe. So can you just go forever? Unless I just didn't notice the timer, which is possible, because I thought about this after that match had already ended. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
My biggest question, and I think the most important question, though, is does it feel competitive?
Right.
Does it feel ranked worthy? And I don't know. I don't know if it feels really chaotic, like in a way that's really fun, but I don't know if that's competitive. You know what I mean?
I definitely want it in the quick play rotation and not as a separate thing like Doom Match. Like,
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
want
Same.
this to be part of like the core Rivals experience,
Right.
and it was definitely designed to be so. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's just that we haven't had enough time with it yet,
Yeah.
like as a community to like really figure out like what are we doing here, you know?
Right. Right.
Um, I think we're kind of in the death ball phase of
Yeah.
everyone just kind of runs at the point and fights each other.
Right.
Um, and you'll see a little bit of people calling for like, all right, let's go to the next point, like before it, like the Call of Duty headquarters
Mm-hmm.
thing where you
Mm-hmm.
go to the next point ahead of time and stuff. But I don't even think with that people have really figured out when you should do that or anything like that. So
Yeah.
maybe just with some more time we can get
Yeah.
there.
It felt like there were a lot of weird strategies happening that you wouldn't see in the core game modes that like worked though. So it almost, if this does get into competitive without like major changes, which I know they've said that they're looking at is like the feedback to see how they can get it into that playlist. If it does make it in there without major changes, it'll be interesting to see like how vastly different the
Hmm.
gameplay is for like high ranks, especially.
Yeah, I could definitely see this one as being one of those modes where like if it gets into competitive, people are either gonna love it or hate it when it
Yeah,
comes out.
right,
It's
right.
like
Yeah,
this is a comp game that I have
yeah,
to play now. Yeah. My last thought is just I think we also need to see more than just this map.
yeah.
Like just see what's the map and what's the mode. Because I know there has been some criticism of the map itself.
Mm,
Like obviously they were having the things that they just patched out about people getting stuck and stuff like
sure.
that. Um, but I haven't watched it, but I know TDT had a video where he was talking about like the map itself has some kind of like exploitable aspects to it.
Mm,
That kind of like if you know about them, it makes it a lot easier to win.
interesting.
I'd be curious to watch that video and see what he's talking about. But
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah. I haven't
he
heard of
wasn't
it.
the only one I've heard who has kind of expressed that like Throne of Null itself might have some issues. So like, I also don't want to unfairly that
Sure.
might
Yeah.
contribute to it feeling very uncompetitive, and like I don't want to unfairly judge the mode based on the map,
Right.
which
Right.
is hard to tease out right now because we only have one of them.
Yeah. Well, and thankfully, if that, I mean, if he's right and that criticism is genuine, hopefully the devs see that and they're able to make adjustments to the map to try
Yeah,
and patch whatever that is. But yeah.
yeah. All right.
Let's talk about us, man. Let's talk about our game life balance. So I know I'm pretty excited about this main topic. I hope that you listeners enjoy this as much as I think I'm going to. This is our first topic that isn't actually rivals related, but is friends related, which is if you've noticed the first word in the title of our podcast rather than the third. It is going to be relevant in that it's about video games. So, a piece of fun trivia about Nick and I. Before we started this podcast, we created a Twitch channel together that was called the Game Life Balance Bros. And we were streaming Halo, the Master Chief Collection, in couch co op at my house. And we were talking about just like Nick had never played Halo, and Halo is like core gaming to me. So like I was sharing it with him, and we were gonna create a series where we were just like doing things together. I had just had my son, and
Yeah,
anyway,
we picked the best time in life.
yeah, yeah,
Which
yeah,
was kind
yeah.
of part of the point of the name was
Right,
like, hey, if
right,
we disappear, it's because more important things are happening. But like, yeah, we
right,
picked like literally you had a 1 month old and I was about to have a 0 month old.
right, right, right. But the point of the like the ethos, the zeitgeist, if you will, was like being like adults with responsibilities and families, but like still being gamers, and that being an important part of our lives. So we're kind of taking that ethos and injecting it into this main topic. And I have a list of questions about game and life and balance and whatnot that are super clever, and I'm so proud of it. And we're just gonna talk to each other about like our history with this topic and basically explore our life as gamers from inception to now. So
and then next week we're going to matchmaking, which will be a heavily Rivals specific topic. But I need prep time for that, and I need to be at home
likewise
to do prep time. So
yep. So kicking it off with the game category. Nick, what are some core memories that you have growing up as a gamer? How did it all start?
Oh gosh, I should have prepared for this.
I can go first.
The whole point of this topic was that we didn't prepare for this. Yeah, you go first. I need to remember my childhood. I was a child.
A child. I was one of those.
Have you ever seen that GIF? It was of the guy in like some documentary of some kind. I really want to know what the documentary was, but his title was Former Child.
Yeah. I knew exactly what you were going for. Yes. So yeah, I grew up like instantly as soon as I was like conscious of video games, I was playing video games. My first experience with them was watching my dad play Marathon is like the first game that comes to mind. Bungie's Marathon on his Macintosh with a joystick, playing the first like fully 3D like look up, down, and left and right and move around in 3D space. The first person shooter like that ever made. I remember watching him play that, and then I was playing like emulator stuff that he had on his PC. He had like a bunch of SNES games emulated on there, and my first own device, I got the lime green Game Boy Color and Pokemon Yellow, and that was like the beginning for me. And then I got a Nintendo 64 was my first like true like TV console, playing Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, all that stuff. Like those were super huge for me. And from there, just kind of like got into a little bit of everything. But to this day, I still say that my favorite game of all time is Ocarina of Time, and that was all the way back at the very beginning on the Nintendo 64. It's kind of how it started for me.
My earliest gaming memory was also my dad's Mac. I remember I was like 4 or whatever, and there was this game that it had on it called Power Pete, which I forget, it had a different name everywhere but the US. But it was about like a G.I. Joe action figure kind of looking guy who was like stuck in a toy store like after, I don't know, like after the toy store closed and like everything, all the toys were everywhere and all these different lands or whatever. Like he had to fight your way through. It was like a top-down shooter game, and you had like a flamethrower or whatever, and you just shot up a whole bunch of toys going through all these little lands and stuff. Yeah. But I could like tell you like every single level of that thing because I played it all the time. Yeah, my dad played it with me. That game, yeah. I've tried. I think you can emulate it now, and I really need to go back and play it at one point. That's probably my earliest. And then some other like super early ones were Backyard Baseball, which they recently put on.
Right.
I got it and played a couple games, and it was fun. Yeah. And then and then this is probably the first time I ever got grounded. Was my dad got a game called Descent, which was it was like a space shooter. It was almost like Doom, but if you were a spaceship instead of I think it still had like demon-y enemy kind of thing.
Right.
And so my dad said it was rated teen, and I was like 5, so he was like, "Yeah, you're not playing this." But I thought I had a spaceship on it, and I was like, "I know how to start this thing up. I'm totally gonna play this." Yeah. And so I snuck into my dad's office while they were watching TV, which you've been to my parents' old house. Like
Yeah,
that means that there was like a thin wall
right,
between where they were sitting on the couch and where I was, and
right
like
down in that
glass
hallway there.
doors. Like there was no. This is the
Right,
worst idea I could have had. But I snuck in there after I was supposed to be in bed and like booted up the game and was trying to play it, and I couldn't figure out the controls. And so I spent the entire what felt like 20 minutes just trying to figure out the controls, but it was probably like 30 seconds before my dad noticed that like he heard noise coming, because I think it was coming
right,
out of the
right.
speakers and everything. I was not smart, but I got grounded and like couldn't use the computer for 2 days, and it was like the most devastating thing to happen in my life at that point.
That's amazing. Yeah. My somewhat kind of like similar story. Oh man, this is what a trip. I know we won't get through all these, so I'm gonna save the ones that we don't do, so that maybe if people say that they like this, maybe we can come back to it.
Okay, we can do the other
But
questions. Yeah.
yeah. But I remember playing Warcraft 3 as a kid, and my dad did not want me to play as the undead faction. So there were humans, orcs, night elves, and undead, and
Naturally, you wanted to only play as the undead
only
faction.
wanted to play undead. I'm an undead main in Warcraft 3. I'm a Zerg main in StarCraft. I've been attracted to the weird, creepy stuff since I was a little kid, even though I was a chicken back then. Um, and I remember in the expansion to Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne, you play the undead campaign is like, oh gosh, it's it's either the first one or I can't remember where it lines up, but I remember my dad asking me if I had played Undead, and I was like, no. And he said he checked and he saw my save file as Undead, and he was like, yeah, you're in trouble. Oh
Yeah.
man, good times, good times. My friend, my friend who's part of us now, Deadlock, and I used to play on BattleNet, and we would have a keyword that we would type POS, which was parent over shoulder, whenever we were like talking about girls or something in chat, and we would both just start like spamming nonsense so that the chat log would get deleted. Oh my gosh.
I love that acronym like made sense to you guys for that, because
Yeah. So something
that would
else.
not translate.
We were too young and naive back then.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, cool. I'm gonna just move on to the next category that I think. Do
Oh,
do you want to pick another one of these?
I want to do all of them, but
Oh
yeah, I
yeah,
mean we won't be able to do this
I
in
want
one
to do all of
topic.
them too. Well, let's do here. Let's do one more. What pick a couple like core games that have defined your like gamer life from like beginning to now.
Wait, let's pause.
Unpause. Okay, so full disclosure, we just had a brief intermission where we talked about how much fun we were having with this and how we want to actually have the time to dive into these. So, all that stuff I said about this whole main topic, going through game life balance, reflections, all that stuff, we're actually gonna just break it up. There's enough stuff for us to talk about here that we can fit each of these categories as a main topic for weeks where we've got weird stuff going on, or we haven't had a lot of prep time or something, or just because hopefully you like it and you want to hear more of it. So hope that's okay with y'all. Sorry about the false advertising in the beginning,
Yeah,
but
if you like this, then hey, now there's more of it. If you don't
yeah.
like this, don't worry, it'll only happen when we need a filler week, which is good
Yeah,
because we've been trying to figure out what we're gonna do, like when I'm driving across the country in a few weeks and stuff like
right.
that, where there's
And
not
when
much travel
my
we can do. Yeah,
second child is born a few weeks after that. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but cool. Well, yeah. So moving on to the second point, just to restate, what games have defined you as a gamer from early life to now?
Okay. While you were answering the first question, I did make a list for this. I actually.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So the first three are the ones that I mentioned before, right? And these are like in roughly chronological order. And
Yeah.
then there was a period of time where me and the human dingus, who's another one of our crew,
Yes.
uh, swapped pirated copies of. This was back when people didn't know what pirating was, and
Yeah.
everyone just kind of burned CDs of whatever they wanted, and
Right,
yeah.
right. And we
Um,
paid for LimeWire and Napster,
yeah,
which legitimized it.
exactly. Yeah, we're paying for it, so it has to be legal, right?
Yeah.
Um, so there was a Toy Story 2 game where you played as Buzz Lightyear and you were trying to find Woody and all of them, and it was like an open world kind of, but like level based, like honestly very similar to what the Lego games ended up being later, where like you were trying to get through a level, but you were also trying to like collect a whole bunch of things as you went through and everything. Um, maybe even similar to something like Crash Bandicoot, but like
Hmm.
it was super fun, and
Yeah.
I wish I could play that game again still. But he had that game and burned me a copy of it, and I got to play it all the way through. And then
Amazing.
I had a Buzz Lightyear Star Command, like whatever the like
Oh
cartoon
man.
version of Buzz Lightyear on
Oh,
TV was at the
that
time.
sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. I wonder if I know what that is.
It was like on the Disney Channel or whatever. It was like a cartoon Buzz Lightyear, and they made a
Yeah, that
game,
yeah.
and so I got that game and let him have a copy of it, and we both I think played through them all the way through like multiple times because
That,
that's what you did back then.
that's
Um,
amazing.
then I finally got a Game Boy Advance SP. Was my first like handheld
Oh
console.
wow. Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I
Dang,
got
I didn't know
Fire
this.
Red was my first like used copy of Fire Red was my first game,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which was fun. And then there was the Flip era.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's when we met. We
Yeah,
met during the Flip era because I installed that game because of you.
yeah, that was my first MMO experience, and it was like a super like grindy Korean MMO,
Yeah, yeah.
and uh, it was not fun looking back at it. But I had never had an MMO before, and so I was
Yeah,
super into it.
right.
And I remember sitting in high school, like drawing out like experience point plans for like how I was going to power level all my characters to get
Of
to a
course you
certain level
were.
by
Of
whatever.
course you were.
That started that obsession, um, which then led to Guild Wars, and
Yeah.
then eventually led to Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Which we had a party in college to like
Yep.
wait for the
Opening
midnight
night.
release or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah, and then
yep.
we got stuck and none of the
Yeah, all
matchmaking
the
worked, and
instancing was off.
we just kept going in and out of the main town over and over again, like hoping that we accidentally got into the same instance. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
I guess what I'm saying is I've always had I've noticed this now. In my life has always had some game that has currently like defined an era for me.
Yeah.
Like after that, it got pretty obvious and linear. It was like I played Guild Wars 2 for a long time, pretty regularly, and then it was Minecraft for a long time,
Hmm.
and then it was Hearthstone for a long time, and then it was Snap for a long time, and then it was Rivals.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
so there's usually some overlap, and I'll always go back to a lot of those older games and have little reunions with them for a
Yeah,
month or so, but it's typically been like something has taken over like a couple years and is like the game I play for a while.
right,
But
right. Yeah. Yeah, I think I already mentioned like Ocarina of Time, and that was and like still is, I think, one of the most I think it's like probably the most defining game I ever played because as soon as I played it, just the sense of like being like young blonde boy which is already what I was, like running through the forest with a sword, which I was already obsessed with. Like my son plays with cars and monster trucks and dinosaurs. Like I played with freaking swords and knights and dragons. Like
yeah,
I've always been a fantasy nerd since day one. Um, so just like that whole thing, I latched onto it so tight, so quickly. I remember like dressing up I had a Peter Pan costume, and I remember that I just like wore it as Link. And
that's awesome. That's super
I didn't
close.
have
Yeah,
the hat. Yeah, yeah, but I wore the Peter Pan costume as Link, and I didn't have a master sword, but I had like a bunch of fake plastic swords, and I would just like run around at my grandma's house and run outside and like pretend to go on adventures. I'd pretend during recess that I was like looking for like tree spirits from The Legend of Zelda and like trying to find heart containers and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I think that really like I think much like gosh, I'm completely forgetting his name right now, which is crazy. The guy who invented The Legend of Zelda, part of his inspiration anyway, part of his inspiration from The Legend of Zelda was his childhood, like outdoors, and things like that. Funny, it had the rubber band effect of his childhood inspiring a game which inspired my childhood and like my desire to be outdoors and like go exploring and things like that. So Zelda is for sure a core one for me. And then my social gaming experience started with StarCraft and Warcraft, getting on BattleNet and being able to play with my friends and like play with my dad. That was the first time of like being able to like play a game like as the same time as my dad and like doing all that stuff. And then from one Blizzard game to another, World of Warcraft launched and absolutely destroyed my life for better and for worse. Still to this day, I haven't played World of Warcraft in like at least a decade, and it's still my most played, will always be my most played game of all time. I have thousands of hours in World of Warcraft.
But me and Guild Wars 2, or maybe Minecraft. I'm not sure which one wins.
Yeah. But that was like super huge for me because I was homeschooled for a while. I was in school and then I was out of school, homeschooled. So like I did like extracurricular things, but one of my extracurricular things was like being an active member of a guild in World of Warcraft and like learning how to talk with people that I had never met and like making friends over the internet and like actually like making close friendships. I remember distinctly a core memory. Our guild was called Rose of Sharon. I remember the guild leader's name was Destachado. I haven't said his name in like at least 2 decades probably. And I remember the guild broke up when I was like 12 years old. And I remember both my dad and I like literally crying because like these were real friends. Like we had never met them, but we like interacted with them every day and like did raids together and things like that. So like that crave for social gaming was born there.
Yeah, I had a weird similar thing, but it was on the game development side. Was like maybe 10 to 12. I joined like I'm putting company in air quotes because there was a bunch of 10 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like we were making
children, they yearn for the coding minds.
I know. Well, basically, like we all met on a Bionicle fan site for Lego, right? And we were all just super into it, and we were all super into learning how to make video games. And so like my first like 4 or 5 games that I made and released like at like 10 were like all on this Bionicle fan site. But we were doing like remote work like in the early 2000s, right? All meeting over the internet on a forum and like divvying up tasks, and like I had an artist that I was working with and like a sound guy and everything, and they were like real friends. But like it was, one of us was in Seattle, one was in the Czech Republic, I was in California, there was a guy in Belfast. Like they were like all over the world. It's just such a weird experience and like something that only really like the internet in like that era of the internet I feel like could give you. Like we weren't all like separated into a billion different social media things, and like there was a little probably too much trust at the time where you're just like,
for sure,
I'll talk to these people that I don't know like
for sure
12 hours a day. Let's do it.
Yep. I remember playing I think it was called, I'm gonna look it up right now, was it IMVU? It was.
Oh yeah.
It is. Yeah. Oh my gosh, is it still around? Oh, it looks completely different now. But I mean, it existed way back then. I used to play IMV. I mean, it's not a game you could play. It's just a chat room. But you had 3D avatars and 3D spaces, and I remember like being VR a kid. Right. But not VR. I remember going in there and talking to people all the time and now looking at like, I was like 12 And
Yeah.
like I'm sure like nothing weird ever happened, but like man, that's a like I would not want my kid to do
Right.
that.
There's so many things I did as a kid on the internet in the 90s and like early
Yeah.
2000s that like
Yeah.
I would be horrified if my kids did now
Right, right.
because I
Yeah,
just I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I got so lucky that I never like wandered
Seriously.
into anything terrible." But
Seriously. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think after World of Warcraft, it gets way more muddy for me. I feel like, funny enough, you like get more defined as you grow up, and I get like less defined because once like World of Warcraft is basically the only game I played from like pre-vanilla. I was in the beta until like the fourth expansion came out, and then after I basically like quit WoW, I started playing everything again, and my interests like wildly broadened out. We started playing Modern Warfare together and things like
yeah.
that.
And
Um,
StarCraft. Played a
and
bunch of
StarCraft.
StarCraft.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. We played StarCraft 2 a lot when that came out. Wings of Liberty, baby. Dang. All that kind of stuff. Guild Wars 2. And then the next era for me was Destiny and Destiny 2, which is my second most played and will probably remain my second most played game of all time because like World of Warcraft, I have thousands of hours in the Destinies as well. And that Destiny for me was, I think, when like I was old enough, like I was playing Destiny into, I mean, I was still playing Destiny pretty consistently only like a couple years ago. So Destiny as an adult was like my big game thing, and Destiny was like hugely significant for me. It was like very anchoring in some really like difficult stuff that was going on in my life, and Destiny helped me realize that like, oh man, the communities that I've built and like the people that I play with and engage with are like way more important than just like, yeah, like some online friends or
Right.
whatever, like people
Yeah.
that I connect with. Like it like those gaming communities really matter and have a lot of power to uplift or tear down. Um and I think that's super cool. That's part of what, not the tear down part. That's not cool. It's really sad. But just the power that like that people who've literally never met each other can have in each other's life. There's great potential for incredible good, much like every the human race, and there's great potential for incredible evil. But when it's used for good, and I think most of the time it is, like it's really really special. So that's like I still see a lot of gaming through that lens of like, man, this is like so special that I get to do this with people that I love and people that I care about and make new friends that I wouldn't otherwise. And we'll get into that more the next time we do this, which is the life topic. So yeah, I'll just end with that one there. How about the third one here? How have your tastes and tendencies around gaming changed over time?
So, I mean, I think the big development for me has been that I well, part of that's just how gaming developed, where like there's been a lot more multiplayer that's happened
Yeah.
in the last 10 years than there was before. And so like if I look at all my early games that I was super into, like pre-Fliff and Guild Wars when I got into the MMO thing, because at the time the MMO thing was kind of like the only really like
Yeah.
big online social thing going on. You didn't have a lot of like shooters going on that you were social enough in.
Right. Right.
I mean, there was Quake and stuff like that, but I never got into that. But um, my like initial gaming, which makes sense as a kid, was all very like single player, like by myself kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then the one that I didn't mention though was like you mentioned playing World of Warcraft with your dad being a big thing. For me, like me and my dad's game was playing Guitar Hero. Like
Oh
when that came
yeah.
out, like
Heck yeah.
we played a ridiculous amount of Guitar
Yeah,
Hero.
I never owned it. I never owned it.
It was great.
Yeah.
I still really miss that game. But
Yeah.
um but then I kind of like developed into my MMO period in high school where like you and I were like downloading a free
Yep.
MMO every day, which was like, all right, it's gonna take an 18-hour download. So
Yep. Yep.
we would like decide at school what download
Yeah.
we were gonna get, what game we were gonna try. And then when we went to bed, we would start the download because you couldn't play the game and download something at the same time. So
Right.
we'd like start the download when we went to bed, and then by the time we were done with school the next day, hopefully it was done. Which, like, I'm thinking now, like, you remember like downloading something for 18 hours, like just hoping that your internet didn't like
Yeah, it
give up
didn't
at some
crash
point.
out. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I remember that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I mean, we played a lot of bad MMOs during that
Oh
period
yeah.
for
Oh
like a week.
dude.
But
I could name way too many of them still.
but that era was like everything was always MMOs, and I think what I liked about it was that it was a multiplayer game, but I could still play alone. Like
Yeah.
if people weren't online, it was still like a role playing game that I wanted
Yeah.
to play
Yep.
anyway. And so I think for me, like the tastes and tendencies things, like over time, I think now as an adult, I've kind of split out my single player and my multiplayer interests a lot. Like I'm not
Mhm.
playing any MMOs big time, which is
Yeah.
like usually because I'm super into fantasy stuff too, and
Right.
I'm super into role playing games, and so like the MMO kind of is that hybrid game of like if I wanted to only have one big game, like we would be doing like a Guild Wars 2 podcast or something,
Yeah. Right.
like
Right.
but you wouldn't be, but I would be, like uh you would be doing a Destiny one, right? And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because that's the same kind of deal. But like, I think what's happened is like, I don't know, like 8 years ago or so, our little gaming group started forming a lot more, and
Yeah.
so it became we were always playing like a shooter together. Like for the
Yep.
longest time, it was Siege, and then
Siege.
random Call of Duties sprinkled throughout. But like,
Yeah.
we would always be doing that, and then that let me jump fully into like something single player whenever we weren't on. And so it became
Yeah.
this kind of like when someone's asking like, "Hey, can we play?" Then I'm like, "Okay, I'm playing this multiplayer game." And then whenever no one's online, I'm playing ridiculous amounts of Minecraft or Hearthstone. Right? Like
Yeah.
those were
Yeah.
like they're single player and there were things I could do. But
Right.
then
Right.
yeah, I think then you start to see like all the card games and stuff come out just like especially since having kids. Like I don't get the and I have too many side projects I want to work on and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't invest much of my solo time into gaming, so it becomes like I'm sitting waiting for a doctor's appointment, like card game kind of thing,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
rivals once everyone's in bed,
Right. Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean obviously in the latter half of that is pretty similar to me too of just not having the time that I had for sure. But I think like taste wise I've said many times throughout this podcast that I'm a variety is the spice of life kind of person, and that has just only expanded as time has gone on. Like I started playing, Pokemon, Zelda, and Mario were like the holy trinity of my like early gaming childhood, and then I remember I can't believe that I did this, but I remember calling my dad to ask if it was okay if I could play Halo at Deadlock's house because it was rated M, and I was still like I don't remember how old I was. It was only the first Halo was out, so it was whatever that was. I was like 10 years old or 9 or something
Yeah,
like that.
which is like
Um,
the most like rated E10 like
yeah, it is.
M rated game of all time. I
No
don't really know why they
idea.
rated it M.
No, it shouldn't be. It should definitely be rated T. Um, yeah, I think the worst word they say is a word we could say in this podcast and still get family friendly. um, so yeah, yeah, and then I remember what really propelled me forward was just like community. The my our Deadlock and another one of our friends and I were just like constantly bouncing around each other's houses. And we all had consoles, but we all had like different games. So we would like each buy like one game and like the other people would come over and play it. So we were just like all buying the weirdest different things. That's where I experienced like my first horror game truly through like BioShock. I remember playing that at Deadlock's house and doing all kinds of other stuff. And I just like I really like fell in love with the medium, and it just started like really broadening my taste. Now I'm like if I have the time, like there are very few genres that I'm not interested in. I think one of the only ones that comes to mind right now is like the 4X kind of stuff, like Civilization and whatnot, that I just like, oh man, I've tried a couple times. I'll still try anything. But I've like tried a couple times. I'm like, I just can't do it. I can't do it at all. But I think one of the I'm kind of like all over the place right now, but one of the biggest landmark changes that I wanted to make sure I hit was playing Dark Souls for the first time. Back when Dark Souls had come out, I played it when the Dark Souls 2 announcement trailer released, and it was one of the coolest freaking video game trailers I had ever seen in my life. And the it's just like so cinematic. I will still go back and watch it every now and then because it is so good and just gives me chills even just thinking about it. But I remember seeing that trailer and being like, what the heck is this? Like, I've got to experience whatever it is. And I played Dark Souls, and it was the hardest thing I'd ever played in my life, and I was so frustrated. But I like banged my head against the wall and was like, started looking up like like guides and stuff. And I got like super into hard games because I fell in love with Dark Souls. And to this day, like I've played every FromSoft game that has ever been made. Funny enough, I used to play a FromSoft game as a kid called Evergrace that I didn't know was FromSoft that I used to love. But now I love that genre. I love really difficult games. I love like like an intense challenge in gaming. I set all my games to hard or like very hard when I play them. And that has been harder for me, I think, as a husband and as a father and stuff now, because it takes longer because you die more. And so I have to be like way more selective if I want to get the experience I want, which is one that is challenging. I have to be like even more selective with the games that I play because I don't just have like hours to sit in front of my screen and play whatever I want. So
it's so funny because this reflects like the I don't think I've said it since like episode 3 or whatever.
Oh,
But the
yeah.
thing I was saying about us at the beginning of you having like the skills of a tryhard and the soul of a casual,
Oh, yeah.
and me having the soul of a tryhard and the skills of casual was like
Yeah.
you like really love hard games that are like you really love things that are like mechanical skill based and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And that is like if you look at my list of games that I've played a lot of, they just careen in the other direction.
Yeah, yeah.
Towards like I want something that I can be strategizing about when I'm bored at work or when I'm bored at
Mm.
school or
Hmm.
like I want something that I can be thinking through like the lore of like okay, but like how does that go together with that and like can make
Yeah.
my dumb spreadsheets on or whatever. And like usually those naturally end up not being the games that are like Dark Souls, but also like I don't enjoy like getting stuck and doing the same
Yeah.
thing over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, it's just
For
it's just
sure.
an interesting, yeah. That's like it like sums up our difference in a lot of ways in a good way.
Right. One last thing that I feel I have to mention, because I actually think this is like arguably one of the most defining things about my like tastes and tendencies in gaming now, is that like I used to, so I mentioned like looking up stuff for Dark Souls. I think Dark Souls is the first game where I was like looking up like how to beat bosses because I was stuck.
Mhm.
And I realized after that that like what I think I felt like I had cheated myself out of a couple like really cool experiences in that game from that. And it made me realize that like what I love about gaming is like the journey and the experience of like uncovering something for the first time and like having that mystery and stuff. So now I'm like super super anti, like I mean you know this about me, like I don't like to know anything.
Yeah.
I like blind experiences are the best experiences for me. So if you have a game that you want me to play and you know that it's like a great discovery experience, like
Right.
there we go, that's my thing.
Yeah, and I again fall on the complete opposite side of like if if I walk into a game and I finally realized this is what it is because I had this problem for years of just bouncing off of everything that I ever thought I would try playing. Like just nothing was sticking for like years. I would start playing for like 5 minutes and be like, nah, I don't like this game. And Skyrim should have been on my list of games
Mm,
that I played a ridiculous amount of, but I bounced off of Skyrim
yeah.
initially. I did the tutorial and then got out of that cave and was told like go do stuff, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm done. And didn't play it for like 6 months before you finally were like, you should probably try it again. And we have that experience a lot where you have to tell me to like give something a second chance. And I realize what it is that I don't want to go into something having no idea what's going on because I
Mm,
don't know if I'm going. I don't know
yeah,
if
yeah,
like for you it's a sense of discovery. For me, it's like is this going to be a waste of my time kind of thing. And
yeah,
so
sure,
and that's only increased as my
sure,
time has become more precious. And
for sure.
so like for me, I don't need to know like how to beat every boss, but I need to know, and what I'll end up looking up guides for all the time is, am I going the right direction? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to just wander around for an hour and a half doing something that isn't working, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I really like the games though when that is what you're supposed to do, as long as I know going into it that that is what this game is,
Yeah,
then I
yeah,
can
like
get
the Outer
myself in that
Wilds.
space. Yeah, then
Yeah,
I can get that myself. Yeah, I love the Outer
yeah,
Wilds. But
right,
if I had
right.
gone in the Outer Wilds and you had just said, I'm not telling you anything about this game,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
play it,
yeah,
I would have
yeah.
bounced off of it so fast. And
Right.
so for me, I'm realizing like I do enjoy guides. I started writing a guide for one of the Pokemon games right after it came out when I was like 15 because I wanted to be the guy with the GameSpot guide that
Yeah, yeah,
everyone
yeah.
used to
Heck
get through
yeah.
things.
Heck yeah.
Um, but I'm realizing now as an adult that it's really more about like I have to feel like I understand like what is the point of this for me to like be able to
Sure.
get into it. But
Yeah. No, that definitely does make sense. I do have harder times playing games that I really do want to play, but like games like Tarkov that are like so brutally difficult. I love Tarkov. I love extraction shooters, but like that the time sink and the like Tarkov is very like not knowing what the heck is going on. Like there's no in-game map, there's no in-game compass. Like
yeah,
you have to like study to know. Yeah, I totally I do understand your that side for sure. Well, bonus round. I think we can do one more without making this a 3 hour episode. Just kind of a fun, good luck. Hopefully we can think of something. Describe your dream game, Nick.
are you saying that because you don't have something off the top of your head yet?
I have an idea, but it's we'll see. Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple of angles on this. So
Okay.
on the one hand, there's the like it's as deep as, like Skyrim or whatever, and like the lore is as good as whatever this is over
Yeah.
here, but it's also multiplayer and you can play with your friends, kind of like the
Right, right.
ultimate RPG sort of MMO, not
Yeah.
really an MMO kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but and then there's like the developer dream of like I'm really interested in procedural generation stuff and in
Mm,
like making characters out of like making like randomly generated characters feel like real characters. And so um I'm really intrigued on the like making something side, like the type of problems I want to solve are like making characters that like really interact really well with you and like create a story out of a whole bunch of building blocks without really having a story there kind of thing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm not sure that, at least because I've never seen that actually pulled off really.
Right.
Like I'm not sure that I would actually call playing that game my dream game, but making that game would be my dream game, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I guess I gotta say, like, I don't know that I have one dream game, but I think the experience I've been looking for recently has been the game that I'm trying to make has kind of come out of like the I'd say I'm trying to make the game I'm making
Yeah.
has come
Yeah.
out of like a lot of like my most recent like desires as becoming like a gamer who also is a parent and also has a job and like doesn't have a lot of time to do it.
Yeah.
I really like playing role playing games with deep stories and a bunch of secrets to find and stuff like that. But I just can't commit the like 3 hour sessions
Yeah.
and like all the time that it takes to get through something like that. Like I can't do the like 400 hours of an RPG kind of thing.
Right, right.
And a lot of times I can do like 45 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to figure out how can I kind of bite size an RPG, and like the closest I've ever seen that happen is when you log into an MMO with your friends and you just like do a quest.
Yeah.
Run, and then you're like, dungeon. I just have time to do one quest, run one dungeon, and then I get out. And so I was thinking about that. And then like extraction games like have been really interesting to me. We've been playing a bunch of them together for a while. And like I think extraction games do a really good natural job of giving you an out of like it feels like a bigger thing than playing like a Call of Duty game, but like it has a very natural ending point because it pushes you towards an ending and like it pushes you towards you're gonna die and it's over, or you got to get out and it's over. But either way, you're trying to end the game.
Yeah.
And so, now you know about this, but I've been working for a long time now on making like a role-playing game that is like an extraction role-playing game, so that it like forces you to, okay, I'm just going to try to go in and do like one little mission and get out. And I've been building it from there, but I want to see that exist. I haven't seen many games do that.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited for when you finish it, and I'm hope we'll for sure rep it on this podcast if that's still happening. So yeah.
You and I need to do another test once I'm I'm getting close to another one.
I know. I was glad that we had that moment when you came over here and you're like, oh hey, it's still on your computer. Like, yeah dude. I'm just waiting. I think I'll make mine short. I think my perfect game, my dream game is I'm gonna paint a picture in your mind of a bunch of different roads of video games coalescing at one crossroads. I want the writing and acting quality of The Last of Us and The Witcher, with the vibes and combat and like sense of discovery and exploration and interconnectedness of Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and the expansive like RPG, like sandboxy life, almost like bordering on life path sim stuff of the Elder Scrolls, with like companion relationship mechanics of like classic BioWare, like Mass Effect, Dragon Age. Yeah, like the companions and stuff like that. All of that interwoven together somewhere in there. Oh, and then it has an add-on. It's not a multiplayer game, but it has an add-on where a friend can play it all with you, and you freaking share progress instead of
get up and take my money.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want that, whatever that is, if that ever exists. Give me a call. I'm buying it day one. Basically, I want something with the ambition of Star Citizen, that's in a fantasy setting and isn't in development for 15 years with no end in sight.
Right. Oh, well, until you said development for 15 years with no end in sight, I was going to say, so basically you want Elder Scrolls 6 to be good.
Oh my gosh. Please be good. Please have learned the lessons.
The two paths diverge in the Elder Scrolls 6 development. It's like it could be Starfield or it could be what we wanted.
I know. Oh gosh, I hope that Bethesda have learned the lessons that they need to. I hope that Todd Howard is rocking that brown leather jacket harder than he ever has every day in the office, because if the Elder Scrolls 6 is bad, man, I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up. Like there's so much in the world that we don't realize is hanging on the thread of the Elder Scrolls 6 being good. And if it's not, I think it might be apocalypse. I think an unveiling is going to happen.
They can't make another
no question about that.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I like I said at the beginning, and I'll say again now, this was super fun for us. I hope that you enjoyed this kind of deeper dive into our lives as gamers. And please let us know. I mean, leave comments on the episode or talk to us in Discord. I know we're doing more there, so hopefully we'll hear some of your thoughts there. But with all that being said, Sebastian, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Hey chat, Sebastian Stan here, armed and dangerous again.
Thank you, Sebastian. Here we are, and we got to play with everyone on the Discord doing Resource Rumble for the first time.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. That game specifically was pretty great.
Yeah. We it was funny. We loaded in, and both Nick and I were like, "Wait, what? How do we play this again?" Like we haven't played this yet. I just realized. I think it was quite a few people's first time playing it, actually.
Yeah. Well, you did fine. You demolished me again. Marcy did his best with the Squirrel Girl pick that I got to pick during the episode, and he was my MVP, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I got to enjoy some post buff Blade fun, which I know my boy's getting a lot of slander slung out at him being weak, and I mean in the rankings he's not doing so well, but I don't know, he's still really good to me, and yeah. That was cool. But we did do someone in our match requested to play just like another game with the same group, but in a domination. So, and then we switched and we played domination, and I got thoroughly crushed, and you did very well.
Yeah. But that's not the official one. What we should have done at that point is we should have been like, okay, let's do a third game. And call it best of three.
Yeah. Well, there's always next time.
We had some fun talk in the Discord this week because we did this early, right? We did this on Saturday because I was at your house instead of doing it on Tuesday like we normally do. And so we had a bunch of people who were in the game like talking about how like, man, like I want to hear what like what happened. Yeah. And I said like I just hope I don't forget everything by then. Like by the time we're actually talking about it.
I know. So
they decided to give me some things to remember from this game. So Josiah, I thought I'd read them out for you.
Yeah, okay.
So Sharp with some overblown modesty says you got to remember my mediocre performance on Black Panther. As I look on the scoreboard, and he went 21-3. So I don't know what was mediocre about that.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Sharp.
Clark Kent's recap is we played a new game mode, our team was spread out, and Black Panther enjoyed that very much. If your duo trying to find your team somehow survived Black Panther, you definitely didn't survive Blade. The end. Yeah, that's about what the scoreboard shows. There's a lot more Loki in there too, but yeah. Sharp said he enjoyed staggering Marcy because Squirrel Girl has no place in my reign of terror.
Yes. This is why I picked Black Panther, Sharp, so that you could put Squirrel Girl in her place.
And then Net wanted to call out for what he said was his terrible Loki gameplay, which again, he was 15-0. So I don't know I don't know what terrible Loki gameplay was going on there.
Yeah, thank you for your terrible Loki gameplay. I would hate to see you be good Loki on playing against me. Like
they might be remembering the second game when it all flipped, but we were playing the same characters or something.
That's I'm gonna go with that because y'all did pretty. Y'all were pretty formidable.
Yep.
All right. Well, this week.
Yeah. Do we want to do anything special this week or just keep it rolling?
I feel like we just keep it rolling until we think of something more interesting to do.
Okay, I do think that one like guaranteed strategist first was a good.
I agree.
Good pick. Do we want to do that first or last?
Let's do it. Let's do it first.
Okay. So you get either Cloak and Dagger or Jeff.
Ooh, I'm going with Cloak and Dagger.
Okay. And I get either Ultron or Rocket.
Ooh.
I'll take Rocket. Okay, now we're going to any. The nominations should be 2 random characters. Hela or Wolverine for you?
Ooh, okay. So much to think about now that we have basically full squads playing every time.
I know.
I am going to pick Hela.
Okay. And then my options are Mantis or Hela.
Mm.
Do I want a Rocket Mantis combo? You know what? I'm going to take it. Yeah, let's take Mantis.
Yeah, nice.
I I've been enjoying Mantis existing in the state she's in right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Invisible Woman or the Punisher?
All right, let's do it. Invisible Woman. There's my strategist.
And we got to remember we're captaining someone at some point.
Yep. Yep.
And then we got Loki or the Thing on my team.
Dang.
I'm going for that Loki combo.
Strategist terror? Oh man.
Yes, I am.
Yikes.
All right, you get Magic or Rocket?
Captain Magic.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. All right,
Here we go.
Psylocke or Invisible Woman? Oh, do we do the mains against each other?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, I'll play Psylocke again. I played Psylocke this week,
yeah.
And it was really bad in the first game, and then really good in the second game.
Killed it in the second.
We'll see how it goes. Okay. You get the Thing or Emma?
Oh, Emma, of course.
Okay. I get Moon Knight or Hela? I would really like a tank.
Well, good thing neither of those approach that territory.
Yeah, I guess I'm taking Hela. Yeah, I'll take Hela. Your last pick is Wolverine or Mr. Fantastic?
Mr. Fantastic. I do hate me some goofy, stretchy boy, but I also would like to have some more tankiness.
All right, and then for my last pick,
there you go.
Emma or Iron Fist. So do I pick based on I want to win, or do I pick based on I want to tick you off?
Oh gosh. Honestly, those two might be the same thing. Depending on who you get as Iron Fist, because Iron Fist starts punching me and I just shut down.
I know.
I'm just like, nope, I'm not even I'm gonna hate the next 10 seconds of me pretending to survive and then dying. So
you're gonna hate the next 10 seconds of watching Mr. Fantastic while you're waiting to respawn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I almost want to go Iron Fist just for the meme, but no, you know what? I'm gonna get a team up out of Emma. I need a tank, and yeah. All right. Well, it says I'm likely to win this time.
Yeah.
Saying you're gonna be your SVP, which you on Magic, I would believe it, and then Invisible Woman is your LVP. For me, it's saying my MVP is Rocket, which makes sense. He has the highest win rate in the game, and my LVP is Hela.
LVP Hela is surprising, huh?
Yeah, I think her stats on matchups and stuff don't end up like matching as well. Weirdly enough, like a lot of the characters that are like super meta in the high ranks, I feel like don't. I don't know if it's weird, but I feel like they don't end up having really high like overall win rates. And I think it might be because in the high ranks you're getting a whole bunch of mirrors. And so the really good players are playing in mirrors, and then those games don't really add in.
Always just canceling out, yeah.
And then down below, people aren't as good with them, like
right.
Yeah, but anyway,
cool. Yeah,
this looks like a good team.
Looking forward to this one. We'll post times soon and play some more great games with our Discord community.
Yeah, it should be back on the normal time on Tuesday, I believe.
Cool. Yeah. Nick, do you know what time it is?
Milady, 'tis the clobbering hour. All right, so well, first, just I didn't know why I called in the lady.
Oh yeah, I was like, milady, huh?
Here you go. Oh wait, no, I want the actual image, not the link.
I don't want to download this malware. That
Here, take my malware.
That was way too large of a link for that. Milady, 'tis the clobbering hour.
I mean, it's got a monocle. It's from an actual comic. At some point, I
think
it's
really?
like one of the what ifs where they're like back in the 1700s.
Nice, unedited goodness. Why does his eyebrow even look British? That's funny. All right, moving right along.
Anyway, if you can't tell, this is a hero spotlight for the Thing. So this is my week. It's my 9th hero spotlight. We're getting pretty deep in.
Yeah,
that means we're at 17 characters now that we've hero spotlight, and we're almost halfway, and then we'll never be able to gain ground again, but we're doing it.
Yeah, right.
And he is my 13th most played character. So we're starting to have a lot more overlap
Lucky
in
13
in our characters. Yeah. Josiah, what is he for you?
Well, he's not my 13th most played character, but he is my 30th most played character.
All right. Bottom
I,
quarter.
I have not dabbled much with the thing. He is my least played Vanguard, I believe.
Wow.
So yeah, so much like Mantis last week being my least played strategist, I'm hoping that you unlock something new with the thing for me. I actually, believe it or not, I did play a couple games of him this week to try and prepare for this hero spotlight, and uh I lost both of them, but you know I like the thing. I've never not liked the thing. I was excited about him coming out. I just yeah, he's just not one of my big players, I guess.
Yeah, I think most of my playtime from him was when he initially came out, and then we went into the flyer season, and I like just did not play him much at all.
Yeah,
I felt like
exactly.
I couldn't. And I started to try to play him a little bit more in season 3. So this is another one of those. We're gonna have more of these now as we get further down our list on the hero
Yeah.
spotlights, where I'm like not super confident in like I have a lot of feelings about the thing that are recent
Right.
from recent memory.
Right.
So I actually went and watched True Vanguard's thing guide before we did this.
Heck yeah.
And it was fantastic. So I'll give some highlights from it as we go. Things that I picked up that like I'm kind of in the same spot you are, where like I think after doing this, I'm gonna want to play a lot more thing. Because when I was doing the research on him to be able to talk to him, I was like, or talk about him, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's the problem that I've been having. I haven't been doing this, I haven't been doing that. So I think he's kind of in one of those spots where he's a character who does have some pretty hard counters, and so you don't always have the opportunity to play him, and so like it makes it harder to rack up a lot of time on him unless you're just super dedicated to him, which we have at least one member of our Discord who is the ultimate dedicated thing fan and is amazing at him. So
good things are scary. I've seen a lot of them too, which is kind of like odd. It's the thing is one of those characters that I've seen a lot of Lord things, and when you see a Lord thing, they're usually really good.
yeah, he's like a specialist Vanguard for sure.
Yeah,
which we usually think of the specialist characters as being mostly duelists, but he kind of fits in that category. Like a Cap, like when you see a Lord Cap, you're like, oh, this is gonna be a nightmare. Yeah, so let's get into his story. I'm going a little light on this too.
Tell me about him.
He's our second Fantastic Four character we've gone through, and I went through a lot of the Fantastic Four stuff when we talked about Sue. And I know we're gonna have at least 2 more hero spotlights where we talk all the way through all the Fantastic Four story.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna kind of give a couple like Ben Grimm specific things and not really a full story of 70 years of comics.
Thank you. I don't have time, and you're on the East Coast now too, so you don't have time for that either right now.
No, it's super late. Somehow, even though we're both on the East Coast, we ended up doing this super late. This time it was actually you. Your kid had to go to sleep instead of mine. Anyway, so speaking of New York, he was born and grew up in Ben Grimm, that is, was born and grew up in Manhattan's Lower East Side on Yancey Street, which you might know from the ability name, but you would not know from New York because I went looking and I cannot find a street called Yancey Street in the Lower East Side.
Listeners, that's dedication. Nick went to New York to try and learn, do on-site research for this podcast.
I went to Google Maps. Is what I did. However, when yesterday I ate at I ate dinner at a place in Greenwich Village that was 3 blocks away from Dr. Strange's address.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I looked that up on Google Maps too because I didn't want to walk over there, but it's just like a tiny apartment building with like a smoke shop in front of it. Like it's not actually,
anything.
And the apartment number doesn't exist anymore, so they must have like torn the building down and like rebuilt it a different way. And then the Baxter building, in fact, Fantastic Four related, does exist. That was the headquarters for Marvel for a while. And so they just, like, when they were making the Fantastic Four, so they decided to put the Fantastic Four at the top of it.
It doesn't look like that, though, for sure, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Huh.
I mean, they always add like the lab and everything up there at the
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
But the Baxter
Huh.
building does in fact exist.
That's cool.
But anyway, um, on a equally cheery note to all that, his dad was an alcoholic and couldn't keep a job, and so
You know?
his older brother Daniel turned to gang violence to make all their money so that they could live. So he was the leader of the Yancey Street Gang, and then he was shot and he died in a gang war. And
The end.
well, and then 8-year-old Ben Grimm decided he was going to take up his brother's mantle and became the head of the Yancey Street Gang after a few years. Um, and that he was a gang leader until sometime in the middle of high school when his parents died, and he was taken in by his uncle Jack, who somehow made his way out of the neighborhood and became a doctor, and was basically like, I'm going to offer you a different path. So he started paying attention in school and stuff and got a football scholarship to university. And his freshman year, roommate was Reed Richards. So,
wow, I'm not like, I've never been like super into the Fantastic Four. For some reason, I thought he was like actually related to
no,
them somehow.
they're like
To the
best friends from
Yeah,
college.
yeah. Okay. Got it.
He's the only one who isn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at one point, when they're roommates, Reed kind of tells him quietly that he wants to build a spaceship, and like his dream is to build a spaceship and go into space. And Ben joked because he thought that was ridiculous. He joked that if he ever did that, he'd pilot it for him. And then Ben actually joined the Air Force and became a pilot, and then a test pilot, and then an astronaut. And so when his military time was up, that put him in the perfect position for Reed Richards to come say, "Hey, I built that spaceship, and you promised me you'd pilot it." So that's how he ends up on the mission.
Yeah.
And then, the story from there. They get hit by a
Right.
bunch of cosmic radiation, and they all get superpowers, and he gets turned into a pile of rocks.
Ouch.
Ouch. Yeah. So he names himself the Thing. So he gets the name basically out of his own depression about like what this thing did to him. He's like, I'm just this thing now. So he names himself that. And then it catches on.
I love how grounded that is for how old this origin story is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you have so many heroes that have some horrible radioactive chemical event happen, and they're just like, all right, this is just who I am now. I think it's cool to see a character like wrestle with like, this is awful. Like, I hate this. I don't want to be this way.
I didn't mention a bunch of them, but so much of his stories revolve around, and even like the first Fantastic Four movie with Michael Chiklis, like the ones from like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
They did this where they came up with a machine that could turn him back, and then he like turns himself back and then decides, no, I gotta go back into being the Thing to like save everyone, right? So like they play a lot with him transforming back and like wanting to be normal again, and then like deciding for various reasons that he can't be, or he shouldn't, like he needs to. So they give him like a very heroic tragedy kind of like, pull back and forth with that.
Right.
So at one point, in a fight with the Hulk, some leftover gamma radiation. This is like one of those stories that makes him human again. Some leftover gamma radiation from the Hulk somehow turns him human again. And so Luke Cage actually takes his spot on the Fantastic Four for a while, which I didn't know was a thing, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, interesting.
But then eventually Galactus decides to punish Ben Grimm for something by turning him back into the Thing. So there's a lot of those kind of things where it's like he's human for a few weeks and then they turn him back.
I love that Galactus is just like Galactus's last name is just MacGuffin. Like, Galactus is just the thing that does all the things when it. Wow, funny. Wow. Sorry, didn't mean to say that. Galactus doesn't do the thing, but Galactus is just like the element that writers bring in whenever something weird needs to happen.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and then another random one that I thought was interesting to bring up was at one point when Reed and Sue fake their deaths because of a lot of plot reasons. The Thing actually joins the Guardians of the Galaxy for a bit
Okay.
until they get stranded on Earth and they kind of break up and he gets recruited to help something else. But so there's actually some comic skins of him or comic panels of him in a Guardians of the Galaxy uniform. So that would be a cool skin for
Cool.
them to pull out randomly, like give him a
Yeah, yeah,
Guardian
yeah.
team up and give him a like the MCU Guardian skin or something. Like that'd be kind of cool. But
I like it. I like it.
all right, so powers and stuff.
Yeah, what does he
So
do?
yeah, so he's got the super strength, the super durability, the super stamina. This one I thought was interesting though. His senses aren't stronger in the sense that they're heightened. Like he doesn't smell better or like hear further away or anything, but they're more resilient. So like they're less easily overwhelmed.
Hmm.
So like the example they use in the wiki article about it was like him getting hit by a sonic boom at one point and the rest of the team just goes down and like is holding their ears or whatever and he's just kind of like mildly dazed for a second and then gets right back into it. um, but it's kind of like the idea is like his eyesight isn't better, but like he could look a flash grenade straight on and then only be like mildly disrupted by it. Like he
Yeah,
has
yeah.
Jack Mask or whatever the
Yeah,
Call of
yeah,
Duty
attack.
perk
Yep,
is.
attack mask. Nice.
um, so that's kind of a cool ability, and it fits really well with his rival's passive of like not being displaced
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Is like
Yeah,
there's like yeah he's heavy, but then there's also like the other ones where it's like he just kind of brushes things off a lot
yeah,
quicker.
right.
And then he has sort of a healing factor. Like he can't regrow organs or limbs or anything like that, but he does heal faster.
Okay.
It doesn't affect him like not getting sick or anything. He still gets sick, but yeah, he just recovers from wounds quicker. Um, and then he also doesn't age is the thing, which is interesting.
I'd like to hear the science from Reed Richards behind how his cells are regenerative enough that they don't age, but not regenerative enough to keep him from getting sick.
Yeah,
or
I am curious about that.
or to not have like perfect Deadpool healing.
Right, yeah.
Interesting.
Part of me wonders if it's like early comics involve him
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
sick, and so but a lot of times if it's something like that, they'll just say that his powers
The
grew over
Fantastic
time.
Four, but the thing's got a widow code. I could
And
see,
they,
I could see that in the 60s and 70s.
yeah, but they do usually like write those off or retcon those as like their
Yeah.
powers grow over time and get stronger.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
do that for him in a lot of ways, but not in that way. So I'm not really sure what the sick thing is about, but they were very specific that he can get sick.
Bummer.
And then just a couple things that I thought were interesting about him that I found out was his rocks are actually a layer of skin.
I actually knew
He's
that
not
for some
like
reason.
made
Yeah.
out of rocks. It's just
Right.
like a rocky exterior, which is kind of a metaphor for him in general. But um, so like once in a fight with the Hulk, he fights with the Hulk a lot because
Of course.
yeah, you got to throw them against each other.
They're both big punchy boys.
Yeah, so once Hulk broke off some of his rocks, and there was like a reddish muscle underneath. So
Ew.
still not human, but like there was yeah something there. And then at some point in the comics, Reed Richards gives him a serum that like 12 hours out of the year, like there's just like a 12-hour period every year where he can turn back into a human if he wants to. It's very specific science magic.
Yeah, that sucks.
So he can decide to do that for a specific 12-hour period every year. He doesn't have to, and he will turn back into the Thing at the end of those 12 hours regardless. But that just screams the writer wanted to be able to have him be a human sometimes.
Yeah.
While still giving a reason why he isn't all the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
so there's yeah.
I guarantee you that every time this is written in, there's also a romantic subplot.
there pretty much is. I was gonna say this.
I knew it.
There's almost.
I know
the first,
how to write. I write things.
The first instance I saw of this was them talking about he planned his wedding around it happening right before the week where he has that 12-hour period where he can turn into a regular human, because they were going to try to have a baby as quick as they could, because they could only have a baby within that 12-hour window every year.
Right.
And it didn't work.
Come on, Reed. If you can do it for 12 hours, you can do it for a little bit longer, right? Like, come on, dog. That's just messed up. That's what I'm saying. This is 100%. This is why I don't like Mr. Fantastic, because underneath that goofy, stretchy exterior, he's a manipulative monster using his friends and family for his own mad scientist desires.
If you turn into a human and stay there for more than 12 hours, please see a doctor. Just the thing in a bathtub.
Yeah. Is the thing like canonically like married to someone? Like consistently, as far as you know?
He does get married at some point. I don't have that in front of me. But there's a Alicia something. I think her last name might be Masters. She's like a they had her in those early 2000s Fantastic Four movies. In the second one,
I've erased those from
yeah. I watched them a couple of years ago. That's why I remember. She's a sculptor, but she's blind, and so they do the like classic trope of he looks like a monster, but she's blind, so it doesn't matter. You know that whole thing. Yeah. So I think it's them that get married at some point.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to share that fact. There's a we about to get the no more thing.
If we were monetized right now, would we get demonetized?
Maybe. This is like the no more thing. There's an interview with Stan Lee where someone asked him directly if all of the thing is Rocky and like that. And he said, I haven't put much thought into it, but I guess so. And then he immediately sidetracked that conversation, not to get away from that topic, but to make you think about Reed Richards instead. He was like, I think it's way more interesting to think about Reed Richards. And then he just went into like specifics.
Oh, no.
I was like, wow, that's not what I expected to come out of that. But anyway, moving on. Let's end on a more wholesome trivia.
Yeah.
So he's depicted as almost always holding back his true strength to avoid hurting someone on accident around him. He really has like the gentle giant thing going on, like through and through. And so I actually really like that as a plot device of like being able to have him have moments where he just doesn't hold back anymore, and you go, oh shoot, he's way more powerful than we thought he was.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man being able to vaporize someone with a punch, but just doesn't because he doesn't want to.
Exactly. So the thing is like that. He's one of those characters that is like way more powerful than he looks at most times because he's intentionally holding back, which I think they're alluding to in the voice line in the game. I don't know if it's one of his voice lines just at the beginning of the match or if it's when you come back after you die, but he says like, I'm actually the strongest, just don't tell Hulk, he'll get jealous or he'll get mad or whatever.
I've heard that.
There's some moments in the comics where various aliens or like cosmic entities or whatever just remark on what the strongest being on the planet on planet Earth is, or like what the strongest person is or whatever, and they pretty typically pick Thing. Like either they say it's a toss-up between Thing and the Hulk, or they pick the Thing. So
interesting.
I just thought that was cool. He's secretly even more of a powerhouse than we think.
Yeah.
All right. So just like the other Fantastic Four, he first appeared in Fantastic Four #1 in August 1961, and then for movies we got quite a few. In chronological order. In chronological order, there's that infamous failed Fantastic Four movie that we talked about in the Invisible Woman Spotlight that was only made to renew the rights but never released. And they actually had two people play Ben Grimm. They had Michael Bailey Smith played Ben Grimm, and then Carl Ciarfalio played the Thing. Kind of like how they did the Hulk TV show in the like 80s or 90s or whenever that was.
Yeah.
Um,
Big buff guy.
where they had the big buff guy in the suit. So
Yeah.
that guy, the guy who played the Thing, his only remark that he's really said publicly about that movie was that he said that that suit was, quote, the hottest bleeping thing I've ever worn in my life. And then you had the Fox Fantastic Four movies that had Chris Evans as Human Torch and Ian Gruffalo and Jessica Alba and Michael Chiklis is the Thing.
Nice.
And I don't know. I have this weird love of Michael Chiklis for some reason.
A lot of people actually do really like the like relationship dynamic of that movie with like Michael Chiklis and
he was great. He was great in that. I also just like him in everything he's been in, but I feel like I haven't seen him in anything for a really long time. I don't know if he retired or something.
Well, and the Human Torch guy, like he was pretty cool too. Like what was his name? Chris Evans? Yeah. Yeah, he went on to do some stuff.
Michael Chiklis also, oh my goodness, that's horrifying.
That is a picture of Carl Carvalho and the Thing suit. You could see how awful that would be.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty accurate.
Yeah.
That's surprisingly accurate, but it's also terrifying, which you see him in comics and you're like, you're not terrifying. You just look like this big rock. But then you see this in real life.
Yeah, you're like, oh gosh.
If that's what he looks like, okay, he's terrifying. No, I was gonna say Michael Chiklis also like played a very similar character in a TV show that like got canceled after I think it was like one season on CBS in like the mid 2000s, but it was called No Ordinary Family, and it was essentially like a live action version of The Incredibles.
Oh.
And so he was like a super strong, could stop bullets kind of dad, and then his wife had some superpowers. I don't remember what they were, and then his kids also. And it was kind of like a direct Fantastic Four meets The Incredible. I mean, The Incredibles are also kind of a Fantastic Four, but as a family. Yeah, right, so it was that kind of like same thing. It came around at the same time. But I thought it was fun.
Also, Michael Chiklis really is Bruce Willis at home. Yes, I was just looking through pictures right now. Anyway, I was literally just commenting on time, and we need to go.
Yeah. And then in the Fan Four Stick one, Jamie Bell was the Thing, and he famously has said, "Don't watch the movie. Save your money. Save your time."
That's so bad.
And then we had very recently in the MCU, they finally joined the MCU in Fantastic Four First Steps, and it was played by Eben Moss Baccarat.
I can't get over how bad that is. Also, Fan Force.
Save your money, save your time.
Yeah.
He said that years after the movie came out. He said it's not worth a second look. Like, don't go back to the movie and see if it was better than you thought. Like,
it wasn't.
I also haven't seen him in much recently, so I don't know if that comment kind of made people worried that.
And what are all these actors? This guy is literally Tom Holland at home. This is like reheated Tom Holland. What is up? How weird. Anyway.
All right. Then we got our rival's voice actor, who's Andrew Morgado. Okay, so did you play Diablo 4?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you play a druid?
No, I didn't.
Okay. He was the druid male character in Diablo 4.
Okay.
You're going to like this one. He was all the zombie things that Doctor Strange merges with in Multiverse of Madness.
Yes. Nice. That's wow. That's okay. How weird.
Yeah. He was Laufey in a What If episode.
Dang, I don't think I saw that one.
So he's actually done a lot of Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
But not as the Thing, surprisingly. Another one of those. He was also Venom in the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite game, which I think is where the Cyan Venom skin came from originally.
Okay.
And then this one I put on there because you've played the game. I'm not sure if you know the character, but he was the Wailing Wood in Remnant for the Ashes.
Remnant from the Ashes, incredible game. If you enjoy Souls, dude, you would love the second one with the multi-classic and everything. But that's so weird because I don't think that character has any lines at all. I think they just grunt.
Well, it could be the grunts. A lot of times
Wail.
voice actors get hired for grunts and wailing.
That's funny. Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. And now he's the Thing. And dude, does he freaking kill it. Like he's got a great voice for this role, and just it's clobbering time is one of the best ult lines in the game. I think it goes so hard. So
I didn't put like a lot more on here, but he has a lot more roles, and I gotta say the thing, just looking at his role list, this guy has range. Like his roles are very different and everything he's in. I didn't mention that he's in a couple of Yakuza games.
Oh, wow.
Playing like old Japanese Yakuza bosses.
Yeah,
he's all over the place. He was a guy in the Outer Worlds that I kind of remembered, but I didn't remember enough to put on the list. But yeah. Anyway,
let's talk about him in game, and maybe you'll hear my cat, Lady Freya, again as she's sitting on my lap now.
Someone really liked that, so they.
I know. Hopefully you enjoy this again. Maybe I'll get you some cat purring ASMR going. The Thing is a Vanguard, and he is a straight up brawl Vanguard, as is to be expected for our Rocky boy. So jumping into his left click is normal attack, Rocky jab, singles, just he punches things. It does 40 damage per hit, and he gets a double strike, 0.33 seconds between attacks, 1 second between sets. So the way it works, he like punch, like that kind of thing. And then it has a 4-meter range, so very, very close range. This is just kind of his bread and butter attack. If you are just looking for DPS, technically this is the quickest way to do it in his kit, more than using his right click or anything else. That like actual DPS for like bigger number, this will do more, but there's probably some reasons why you wouldn't want to just do that. So let's talk about his right click, which is Stone Haymaker. So this is another punch that has a bit of a windup. So it doesn't list what the actual windup is, but it's like a 1 second or less windup.
It's 1 second, yeah.
Okay, 1 second. It does 90 damage at 8 meters, which is double his primary attack's range, and that 8 meters goes way longer than you feel like it would. And then it has a special effect that moves him forward 3 meters when he unloads that punch, and he gets 50 bonus health during skill activation. That's not upon landing the hit. That's upon activation of the ability, which is I think a huge piece of survivability for him in his kit.
Yeah. So let's talk about these two. This was one of the things that I got out of the True Vanguard video that I thought was really good. He went on a long thing at the beginning about how early on everyone was seeing that the Haymaker does more damage in the same period of time technically, and so they were saying like, if you want damage, just hold the Haymaker, like just keep doing the Haymaker, and that's not true. And then people shifted over to, no, the left click does more damage. Yeah. And he's like, well, yes, but you also don't want to just do that. So technically, what does the most damage is left click to do the punch, and then animation cancel to do the right click. And then as soon as you do the punch, you animation cancel by left clicking, and you just alternate back and forth. Technically does slightly more damage than doing either the left click or the right click together.
Okay.
And so he was saying when you fight against a tank, you want to alternate the left click and the right click. Make sure you get both punches off on the left, then do the right, and then make sure you get both punches off on the left. And that does the most damage. However, on squishy characters, the way that the chunking works out between the left and the right, it's actually faster just to left click the squishy characters and not try to do the right clicks in between.
Got it. Yeah.
But the more health you get, the more the long punches
that matters. Right.
And then he was like, but then the other thing is you don't want to just left click or right click, because so much of it, like based on how fast something is, because so much of it also has to do with positioning, and especially now when he did the guide, the stone haymaker didn't ground flyers, but now that's another thing to keep in. Like, I'm always haymakering Iron Mans that are close to the ground, because I want to keep them on the ground so I can keep fighting them, right? Unless I get them low and then I want to just like left click to finish him off while he's still on the ground. But so there's a lot. He's a fighting game character, right? He's kind of like Magic, where he's a fighting game character. It's just a different type of one. And so there's actually weirdly a lot to think about, even though these abilities on paper are punch and punch, right? The right click has an 8-meter range, but it's a spell field. Like when you see it, it says single class spell field. So it will do damage to people behind the initial people that you hit. I think technically the left click would too, because it's also spell field, but the range is so small that it's not likely to happen. But the right click it is. And so when you have two people in front of you, then you want to be right clicking, because you're trying to get the extra double damage on it. And you wipe out the person in the back, and the person in the front doesn't have much health left, and you can switch to left clicking them. So there's actually a lot going on with these, I guess, is the point. The right click also giving you the bonus health can be really good for survivability purposes. So you want to think of these as, like, no pun intended, like your left and right hand of, like, these are both things that you want to be basically just deciding in the moment with each punch, like which is more effective for what I'm trying to do. If you've got someone who's a low health character and they're right in your face, then you just wail on them with the left click until they try to run away, and hit them with the right click as they try to run away. If you're up against a tank, you're trying to make sure you get as much damage in as you can, and you do the alternating thing. If you're up against flyers or multiple people, or you've got someone who's kind of low and you can hit them with one big 90 damage hit and finish them off, then right click all the way. Like, there's no real one answer to this.
But in reality, you want to always and only ever use right click, because you get the knockout bell sound effect upon execution, and that piece of dopamine that floods into my brain when hearing that.
It is one of the most satisfying sound effects in the game.
It's so good. And I forgot to say it. I'm glad you mentioned it. Literally, the most fun I had with Thing this week was haymakering Iron Man and Ultron out of the sky relentlessly. I would throw my life away, but I would rip them out of the sky and kill them. And it was so fun watching them trying to get out.
All right, well, since all of his abilities kind of have to be talked about in pairs, let's cover the next two.
So we have Embattled Leap and Battle Blitz. Battle Blitz was added in 3.5 as well as his Haymaker's ability to ground flyers, and this was all in response to him being basically unplayable against flyers, which we know were very prevalent in Season 3. So these are his leaping to target abilities. So the Embattled Leap is on his E, and that is a target cast, so you don't have to aim it. As long as you're within range, the icon pops up and you can use it. It's got a 3-second cooldown. He's got 2 charges. It has a 10-second cooldown recharge time between those 2 charges. He can use this at a 20-meter range, and it does the following. It applies a 30% damage reduction to himself and a target ally for 3 seconds. And then, of course, it shares a cooldown with Battle Blitz, which is on his F key, which is the exact same cooldown charges. On this picture right now that I have, has the recharge time and range unavailable, but there are the same from what I understand. So 10-second recharge time between those 2 charges, 20-meter range. And this also applies a 30% damage reduction, but only to himself. And I mean, this is where the fun really begins, to quote Anakin Skywalker from episode 2. Oh my gosh. Is it the 2 intro or the 3 intro? It's the 3 intro. Gosh, that was terrifying. I almost lost my nerd card right there. This is when you if you use Battle Blitz and then try and use Stone Haymaker, you're gonna miss on a flyer because the Haymaker isn't gonna go off in time. But you can prime your Haymaker, use Battle Blitz, leap 20 meters into the air to punch Tony Stark's smug billionaire face and drop him to the ground where you can continue to beat him to a pulp. And there is nothing more satisfying, except for maybe if you saw an Iron Fist flying through the sky, which he shouldn't freaking be able to do, and leap towards him to knock him out. That might be a little more satisfying. But between those two things, let's just say it's a toss-up between what the best action in the game is.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is another thing where it just gives you so many options. There's so many different ways to use these things. So on the base level, you can think of this because they've got 2 shared charges. You can think of this like you think of Magic's portals, right? Like you've got 2 movement abilities that you're trying to make sure you manage to get in and get out. And so he really does play best when you're constantly getting in, like shaking up their line and making it so that their front line is kind of collapsing in on itself. And then when you take too much pressure, you have abilities that give you a bunch of bonus health and you leap yourself right back out and rinse and repeat, right? A good thing is going to be constantly like flying right up into the enemy's face, causing a bunch of mayhem, making them second guess all their life choices. And then before he dies, kind of like Venom, disappears back into the back line of his own team and like gives his healer an easy way to get some old charge back, and then he opts right back in, right? So typically I'm going to use either the embattled leap or the battle blitz to get into the battle. It could be either. Like if you have an ally that's already in a fight up close, then I would probably actually try to leap to the ally because you're just going to get more out of it. Like you're not doing damage to the enemy when you leap to them, but you are giving the ally 30% damage reduction when you leap to them, right? So you kind of want to prioritize doing the ally leap if either one gets you to the front line. You want to prioritize leaping to an ally.
Yeah.
And then you always want to keep the ally leap, the second one, for being able to get back out to the back line. Like turn around, get back out. Because, the thing can give himself a lot of health. Between the haymakers and his other ability that we're going to talk about in a second, he can give himself a lot of overhealth, but you're not like entirely invincible,
Right.
And so you want to just make sure that you're not dying. That's kind of like Cap or Venom. You're kind of playing that role.
Yeah, this also makes Thing of all the Vanguards basically the quickest and most effective peel tank, which is amazing because not only like the Hulk is the only other one that I could think of that can be as quick with his leap, but the Thing, you don't even have to aim it, you don't have to hold anything, you just have to click it in the direction of your teammate, and not only are you there physically, but you're also shielding them 30%. So consider
30% is a lot.
Yeah, that's a huge damage reduction. There are not many things in the game that offer that kind of high percentage. So but moving on to his shift ability, Yancey Street Charge. So with this, the Thing continuously charges forward, launching up enemies as he hits them and leaving behind a zone at the final position that prevents the use of mobility abilities. So this gives him a 100% movement boost, has a 5-second duration, and he gets 30 damage per ground slam when he does the ground slam, and then 20 in the when he hits you, it does 30 damage. When he slams the ground, it does 20 damage, and then the zone that sticks around when he hits it does 15 per second. Right. And then the ground slam has an 8-meter radius with a 2.5 meter high cylindrical spell field. So that's while he's running, there's that massive 8-meter radius around him as a cylinder. And then the immobilization zone has an 8-meter radius as well with a 4-meter high cylindrical spell field. This is on a 10-second cooldown. And
this description is a little bit weird. Because the zone, it says 15 per second, and it says it has a 5-second duration. The zone at the end only has a 2-second duration. Like it goes off twice.
Right.
But your dash
5 seconds isn't
is
charging.
5 seconds of charging.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not doing however much damage that would be. If someone stays in the zone and you hit them with your physical body, like doing the slam, and then you like do the end slam down, and then they stay in that zone. That's what, a total of 80 that you're doing from all this.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
The bigger issue though is that you're immobilizing them, and then specifically the movement ability thing. Like this is your way to take out magics. This is your way to take out Spider-Mans that are trying to get away, Black Panthers. Like you really are a great counter to those characters, because especially if you use the keybind option that lets you have this release, like have the slam happen when you release shift rather than having to hit it twice. You can literally just press shift once in a fight with one of those characters, and all of a sudden you slam, and you get a free haymaker in there, and 2, they can't use movement abilities for how long is that? A couple seconds?
Yeah, right.
It doesn't really say. Yeah, the field.
No.
So yeah, probably 2 seconds. That can be humongous. I mean, we've both played a lot of Magic, and anytime you get hit by this, you're just like, oh no.
Yeah, stop. Let me step out. Yeah. Well, and remember too, like this is what I think a lot of people probably miss about the thing, and what I need to think more about when I play him is that like this combined with his leaps, like the thing is literally the best dive counter as far as tanks go. Like being able to dive back to your teammate, give them 30% health, and then give a giant rocky middle finger to Black Panther as he's trying to freaking slip and slide his way into another kill. Like, no, says Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
I love that. And on top of all of this, what we haven't mentioned yet is that he's getting a 200 bonus health when he activates the skill. Like, holy crap. He is diving through a lot of damage to be able to, get to whoever he wants to get to with this.
Yeah, I think that's part of what made the addition of the F ability to like leap towards an enemy so good, and the like anti-flying on the haymaker. That change not only helped him deal with flyers, which was like his big weakness, but it also like he was straight brawl before, right? Like he was like the epitome of brawl, which is supposed to counter dive, and he has all the tools to do that, being able to peel, and then also proactively being able to stop them from using their movement abilities. Like you just said, he is totally designed to shut down dive. And then when they added the leap towards an enemy, they kind of also made him a bit of a dive tank, where before he was pure brawl, but now you have that like, I'm going to go leap at an Iron Man up in the air, or I'm going to go leap, at an enemy who's over there and finish him off while they're trying to get away. Yeah. So he almost gets to dip into the like Venom kind of play style.
Yeah.
You get in, you give yourself a bunch of bonus health, you leap on someone, and then you get out. Like he's not just trying to stick with like peeling for everyone now. He can also dive and be aggressive if the team needs it for a second.
Right.
So I mean, they've made him incredibly versatile now.
Yeah.
By kind of covering some of his big weaknesses.
We'll get to it, but spoiler. I mean, all of this stuff is why it surprises me that his win rate isn't as high as I would expect it to be. But let's talk about the passive ability, which is Unyielding Will. This makes the thing immune to launch up, knockback, and other displacement effects. What this does not make him immune to is like stuns. So he can't be moved around, but he can be frozen. He can be grabbed by Emma. He just doesn't get kicked by Emma. So he can still be CC'd. He just can't be moved. So Invisible Woman can't push him. Wolverine can't kidnap him, importantly. And anything else that displaces, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this is small, but like it's gonna do a lot for you. It's gonna protect you from the Spider-Man pulling you off the map thing that they rely on. Like Spider-Man has nothing to do against the thing. Like he can't pull you off the map. he can't like. I mean, he can web you, but what's that really going to do for a minute? And then if he gets close to you to start punching you, then you just slam and he can't escape.
Yeah, can't get away. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I am actually not wearing my watch right now, but no matter what, I know what time it is. It's clobbering time. His ultimate on his Q. He gets to use his immense power to launch up all enemies in front of you into the air. So this has a 3-meter high spell field that is 10 meters wide, advancing 2 meters every 0.1 seconds up to a maximum of 18 meters. Basically, big punch, go far. It does 100 damage for 2,800 energy cost, and it stuns everybody caught in the area of effect for 2.5 seconds. Nick, I believe you called it when this came up, the ultimate setup ultimate, and it is that, and it is really nasty, and you do not want to get caught in it because you are probably going to die.
Yeah, if you have someone on your team that you're coordinating well enough with, and they have, some sort of big like area kill ult, then you just use this as setup and take the team wipe. When you don't have that, this was another thing that I really liked out of Drew Vanguard's guide was when you don't have that, you kind of lean on the other aspect of it, which is that the energy cost is only 2,800. It's really not high. That's actually really low. And so you get this really fast if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, getting in there and getting a lot of damage on people in the face and stuff like that. You can get a lot of these. And I don't normally notice that because I'm saving it way too long waiting for the setup. Because you can't kill 2 or 3 people alone is the thing most of the time with this. And so it feels like it's not worth using. But because you get it so quick, he's one of those characters where it's like if you don't have the team up with someone where like it makes sense to save it for them, you just want to get solo or duo kills with this. Like two people walk up to you, you use this, one of them's out of the fight for a little while you kill the other one, now you have a one-on-one. Like
right. Yep.
Great.
Yep.
And you're gonna win the one-on-one unless they run away or they have a Punisher like shooting lead into you from halfway across the map. Like they're not gonna beat you in a one-on-one. So this was one where he specifically said, he's like, people are going to be like, wow, I'm so good that you had a solo ult me. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're dead. You're not. Like, he's going to get his ult back before they get their ult back. Like, you just keep going.
Yep. And if you really want to bully people, you can use his ultimate and then use Yancey Street Charge and juggle people for even longer. That Black Panther that's 30-0, her dominating your team, he's not 30-0 anymore.
No.
He gonna die.
Yeah.
So yeah. I love that. Well, the thing also has not 1, not 2, but 3 team up abilities, which if you're counting, leaves him at 9 potential active abilities on his screen at one time, because all of these team ups can be used together and actually make sense to be used together.
Yeah.
My goodness, let's kick it off with Cosmic Fastball on the Z. This is just Hulk and Wolverine. So same exact thing. Picks up Wolverine, yeets him for with a cooldown of 15 seconds when he throws him. If he uses it, but Wolverine doesn't acknowledge it or doesn't get thrown, it only has a cooldown of 3 seconds. And he can. Yeah. That's cool. That's nice.
Importantly, the maximum distance you can throw, or no, that's the maximum distance you can target.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what is good is, so with Hulk, when you throw him, then you have to charge your jump, right? Mm-hmm. With this, you can just hit E and follow Wolverine. So once you land, then you and Wolverine now have 30% damage reduction, and it's you and Wolverine.
My goodness, I had not thought about that.
Yeah, this one I think is underused because you don't see the two of them together that often. But if you guys can coordinate with that, that's a 2-on-1 fight that you're winning all the time against whoever you want.
Yeah, holy crap.
You got to aim a little bit higher than you think because Wolverine needs time to aim at someone while he's in the sky. So if you throw him directly at someone, he's probably not going to really be able to aim at them, just land on the ground. But then we have the Fantastic Four team up, which is awesome if you get it. You get bonus health.
And you are much more likely to because she's getting picked 30% of the time right now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You get 5 seconds of 5 bonus health every 10th of a second. So that's 50 bonus health a second for 5 seconds. This is a great way to just heal yourself up for 250 in the middle of a fight. Great. And then you have the Thing and him as well.
I'm sad to say that I've never seen this team up in action, but I want to see guided missile things so badly.
I've used it a couple times. It's pretty nice if you're Human Torch and you are really coordinated and know what you're doing. Yeah. A lot of times it's kind of the Wolverine experience of they pick you up and then they just throw you somewhere and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then you die. So again, this is like you have a buddy that plays Human Torch. So the odds of using this are small, but it is pretty cool. It's like another mini Yancey Street landing.
My favorite use of this ability is from an Instagram reel that I saw, which is the Thing being way overextended and the Human Torch rushing up and shouting on voice comm saying, "Uber's here!" and picks up the Thing and turns around and runs it and flies him out of the fight to save his life.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a good use.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of numbers on this thing. You fly a distance and you do some damage.
Yeah, basically he just drops you, and then you do the end of the Yancey Slam, and you do get a little bit of the launch up. So I mean, it's a great thing to add on to your. Yeah.
You just got to be coordinated to use it. How about them Thing skins?
There's no question. It's the thong. That's what we're all about. Actually, there's a little bit of a question now because the symbiote thing is amazing too.
I know. Symbiote thing is amazing. I'm actually using that right now because I like it a lot. I do also enjoy that of the first 3 skins that he has available, they are all identical in the preview window because the only thing that the Thing has is shorts.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got cool skins. He's got cool skins.
They're doing well with him. I still really like his trench coat one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. I like it a lot. What I don't like a lot is what I alluded to, which is it's not like it's crazy. His win rate's 49% right now, according to Rivals Meta. For season 3, he was at also 49%. The funny thing is, I went down in every single rank. With only a couple exceptions, he never leaves 49%. There's a weird thing where he is lower in bronze, gets lower in silver, and then jumps up in gold and stays at 49% the rest of the way, like the Grandmaster. But yeah, why do you think he's not doing better than he is with as like really good as his kit seems right now?
I kind of wonder if it's just the being able to be hard countered thing. Like, how many of those games you're playing Thing and you're doing well, and then they switch to someone that can counter you, and you don't switch and you lose? Like, I don't know if that can account for some of it, but you would think at the higher ranks that wouldn't happen as much.
Yeah.
Because you'd be good enough to switch off. It's really tough that it's like this at the highest ranks, because then my normal arguments are like it's a skill issue.
Yeah,
and then it gets better up top. But if it doesn't get better up top, then I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's just the nature of being easier to be hard countered that like you're just never gonna have the win rate climb up much higher. I don't know.
Right. I don't think he's a bad character though. No, not at all. Not at all. I will say that I mentioned that when I see Lord Things, they're pretty much always really good. I think the Thing is also like when there's the worst Vanguard, it is often the Thing being an absolute idiot and just charging solo into the entire enemy team and getting absolutely annihilated.
Yeah. He's pretty easy to throw with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes down to what we were talking about. Is the kit has a lot of nuance, but seems really, really simple. Right. It's kind of got that Scarlet Witch thing, but like he has a lot more abilities, so I don't think people throw him in that category.
Yeah.
But I I have a hard time with that argument that I'm making.
Yeah, because
then
it doesn't
at
change.
the top, like people are still struggling with him. So I don't know. Is he a specialist that just has a high enough play rate that pulls the win rate down?
It is pretty high. It is pretty high.
Is it harder to get a higher win rate as a specialist when you're on Vanguard instead of duelists? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what do you pick the thing for when you pick him?
If they've got a lot of dive, I'll pick him.
For sure.
If my team is playing like a brawl comp, kind of lead the way with that. If I already have a shield tank or like some sort of like anti-poke kind of tank is the other Vanguard. Lol, like there's ever another Vanguard. No, but if there's already an Emma or a Doctor Strange or a Magneto, I'll usually feel pretty comfortable playing the thing because like his biggest thing that destroys him is Squirrel Girl and the Punisher and Hela, like just raining down fire from far away and you never get to them. Right. So if you have someone else that can already block that kind of stuff, then I'll feel pretty comfortable playing the thing. But like if those characters exist on the other team and I'm playing thing, I realize like I need to be a shield to like soak some of that up. But
right. Yeah. Cool. Any final thoughts?
I want to play more thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I was missing a lot of the left click, right click stuff going on.
Yeah, I need to mess around with that. Yeah, I have never done that, so I really need to try that.
Yeah, the other thing is after Mixac on our Discord, like after watching him play thing a whole bunch, I started getting more of the like, okay, you're leaping in and leaping out, not just like standing in the front line hoping your team heals you fast enough. And that leap in, leap out has really like helped me do a lot better with him. So I'm hoping that combo of having that play style and then the punching being more nuanced will help me with him. But I want to play a lot more of him in the next season.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, that's the thing, everybody. And now that clobbering time has passed, it is time for the Reddit take of the week. For our Reddit take of the week this week, I just have a fun little one that I'd like you to experience with me in real time, Nick. So this comes from deleted user. I don't know what's up with this, but the Reddit account apparently no longer exists. The post is custom Lord icons that I made. And it starts off with a cool beach themed squirrel girl. Go ahead and click to the next one.
I'm really afraid because it says the text on this is how incredibly innocent looking Lord icons. There's no way this is going to remain innocent. Okay, what's the next one? A job application.
Check the next one.
A shower. Nice. And grass.
Yeah. And then finally
deodorant. Oh, that's great.
This post was definitely made by that one guy that we played with on Saturday night when we were playing with our Discord, who the second he saw the Squirrel Girl Lord icon for Marcy.
Quick play, yeah.
It's a quick play. I can't remember if it was domination or push or what, but Marcy, our editor, was Squirrel Girl Lord as he is, and he was absolutely ripping this guy a new one at the moment. And he was like, "Really, a lord in quick play?"
He was so mad about that for some reason.
Yeah, bro was like going on for the entire match about like, seriously, you're a lord and you're playing quick play. And it's like, dude, all it has to be for a lord is time. Like, it doesn't mean...
All it means is you like the character, so why wouldn't you be playing them in quick play?
Yeah. And by the end of the game, it was so funny. He was getting flamed even by his own team. They're like, this guy is the most fluent speaker of Japanese I've ever met, because he's just going on and on about absolutely nothing.
You missed what we did. We kind of egged him on. Because once he started complaining about Marcy playing a Squirrel Girl Lord in quick play, we all decided on our 6-stack to switch over to whatever lords we had. And all of us play Lord Lincoln. And that set him off massively.
Right. That was amazing. I just love that all the highest voted comments on here are mostly people with like anime images of like, here's Kaiba getting like annihilated and like someone else turning into ashes. They're just like, no, it's me. I can't touch grass.
Have you seen this one of all the ultimate lines?
Yeah. Shower again.
Your showers are mine.
For shower kind.
I like the tremble before baths.
Yeah. Bath, grace us with victory.
This one took me a while to figure out, but it was Bath and Body Works. A bath. A bath. A bath.
Oh man. Yeah.
Bathe peasants. That's pretty good too.
Bathe peasants. Oh man. Absolutely amazing. Well, I do need to get my Emma or Magic Lord eventually.
Yeah, you do.
But anyway. Thank you all. Yeah. Thanks so much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed episode 30 of our podcast. And again, let us know what you thought about the game life balance stuff. Because we'd like to do more of it if you enjoy it. If you are wanting more of our Friends and Rivals content, of course, you can consider joining us over on Instagram at Friends and Rivals, or on X at Friend Rival Pod, or on Discord via the link in the show notes. If you got a question you'd like us to answer in our next episode, drop it in our Discord chat or in the comments of Spotify for this episode. Of course, you can send us an old-fashioned email as well. All right, everybody. We will see you in the morning.